Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for checking us out right here on the Morning Woodward Show, featured on the Roar 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. Happy Monday. We have to talk Lions, you guys. I'm so sorry. It was such an ugly game. 16-16 tie with the Steelers with a backup quarterback in. But I do want to start off on a positive note. You guys, it was the Lions' first non-loss of the season. They are undefeated in the month of November with the bye week and the tie. The coin toss was our first win of the season, and we managed to win 2 coin tosses yesterday. And it was our first non-loss at Heinz since 1955. So that's something. But you guys, your thoughts on yesterday's performance. Jeff, I'm going to start with you.
Well, it was a good weekend for Detroit sports, 5-0, and then, of course, the Lions won. Every team won besides the Lions. They tied. They haven't lost in November, though, if we want to look at it like that. Bye week.
Don't look, man. It's Monday.
Bye week.
I'm still drinking my coffee. I'm trying to wake up. Don't start with me.
I'm trying to walk in like Lions Twitter. All right, the Lions haven't lost in. No, I'm just joking. They tied against the Steelers, obviously on the road. Mason Rudolph. A lot of people were expecting. Listen, it would be a game. They had their backup quarterback in, but the Lions. Let's just talk about the positives, and you could start by talking about individual players. In a season like this, it's definitely the time to praise development, because watching last night or yesterday was. Some things that we're going to talk about and get into that were negative, but the positive, I could talk about guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, the really only receiver that was getting separation. I mean, you could talk about Khalif Raymond in the first quarter and Jared Goff missing him on that go route, but Amon-Ra looked good. Jamar Jefferson, before he injured his ankle, looked good, got a touchdown, found the end zone for the second straight game. Before the bye week, of course, he found the end zone versus the Eagles. And finally, the unleashing of Deandre Swift, getting his first time 20-plus carries. He got 33 carries. Me and Adam talked about this. I mean, no Jamal Williams. Jamar Jefferson out, injured his ankle. It was a perfect opportunity for Deandre, and he stepped up. Got about 4 yards a carry. Penei Sewell playing the right tackle position. They didn't throw the ball a whole lot, but regardless, he didn't give up any quarterback pressures at all. Taylor Decker, a little rusty coming back, but nonetheless, secondary played well for the most part. I mean, the front seven really couldn't get any pressure on Mason Rudolph. 0 sacks. But they kept Najee Harris out of the end zone, which is a positive thing. Definitely a positive thing. But we got to talk about the elephant in the room a little bit. And it's Jared Goff. And 53 yards, I think, in regulation, which is fewest by a Lions quarterback since Joey Harrington in 2004 against Green Bay. And let me just put some context. Joey Harrington in that game versus Green Bay was 5 for 22 for 47 yards. And that's credit to Kyle Meineke for the tweet I read yesterday. And Jared Goff yesterday had 53 passing yards. And you could blame it on the fact that, listen, he was injured, but no, I'm not going to do that. Him being injured only worsens the fact he's already a bad quarterback. And yesterday they struggled to move the ball again for the now 9th straight game. And you're not beating anybody in this league if you can't throw the ball. It's that simple. I mean, you could look at teams like the New England Patriots. They out of all the teams in the NFL, they use the running backs probably the most. I mean, besides us. And they're still able to make plays down the field. Yeah, they have Kendrick Bourne. Okay. Yeah, Kendrick Bourne. And last time Kendrick Bourne was relevant was years ago. And he's having a good year this year. But the Patriots are limited for weapons. They have Hunter Henry. We have T.J. Hockenson. We have a more dynamic backfield, of course. And they're still able to air it out. I mean, the Lions yesterday, I think they were averaging 2 yards per pass play. They couldn't air the ball out at all. Blame it on the injuries of Jared Goff. Blame it on whoever you want. Receivers not getting separation. The fact of the matter is, we'll get into Dan Campbell play calling later, but they could not throw the ball, and you're not going to win against any team, let alone Mason Rudolph and the Steelers. So, Mason Rudolph could at least get completions. You had the touchdown pass to James Washington. Of course, the Steelers had 3 turnovers for the entirety of the game. Lions had 0, still couldn't capitalize. So that's not good. And even in close games, this team has a multitude of mistakes. Again, penalties late in the game, 12 men on the field. You're hoping they build on that success from week to week, Adam, but I just haven't seen a whole lot of progression besides Dan Campbell maybe calling the offense, taking the ball out of Jared Goff's hands, which is I'm a fan of. Anytime you can take the ball out of Jared Goff's hands and don't make him win the game for you, I mean, you're good. But from week to week, I haven't seen too much progression at him, and that's kind of what I took from yesterday. I'm hoping offensively they got to find something, find a spark, because I haven't seen it. Defensively, they've been playing great. And if your defense is playing that good and put you in a position to win as much as they did yesterday, you should win that game. So that's what I took from it.
Well, look, first of all, only the Detroit Lions could tie that football game. Multiple possessions in overtime. Game-winning field goal opportunity after opportunity, then a holding call brings them all the way back.
Yeah.
Makes it even more difficult. That was the ugliest game of the season I've watched. Just as let's say as a neutral. That was one of the worst football games you could have watched over the weekend. But to get into the game, look, they ran all over Pittsburgh. That was really good. They came out with a game plan. They were dedicated to running the football. Jamar Jefferson looked good early on. Deandre Swift picked it up after he went down. They were running the football really well. The offensive line, they really played towards their strengths. You saw in the very limited opportunities where they actually dropped back and threw the football, they didn't look all that great. Taylor Decker struggled from a pass blocking standpoint, but overall the whole line played pretty good.
Yeah.
When Matt Nelson went down, that's when the game plan kind of went down the gutter. Matt Nelson went down. He was kind of playing as your de facto fullback. And that was really causing Pittsburgh problems. Mm-hmm. And he goes down, and now you're not able to run the football as effectively as you were earlier on in the game, and you became predictable. And when the Lions become predictable, they don't have a quarterback or playmakers on the perimeter that can make you pay for it. So Pittsburgh stacks the box. TJ Hawkinson gets, one target the whole game? It was the game plan, and they stuck to it. Credit to the Lions. They stuck to it. It kept them in the game the whole time. But I'm not even sure what the takeaway should be on a Monday morning. I thought about this so hard last night. And you can make fun of them for the tie, whether they lost, or even if they won. I don't care. It's a rebuild year. So I'm done criticizing game performances. Early on, had to get people into a reality check that this was a rebuild year, but here we are. What are you, 0-8-1? It's fine. Rebuild year. What are you going to do? Roster's really bad. I think we can all acknowledge that. You need a wide receiver or two. You likely need to retool in the secondary, although your defense has been playing better than expected given how many injuries it's dealing with. Aquara interception yesterday, if I'm correct on that. It was a good game. It was a good game from a standpoint of you didn't beat yourselves to an extent. You did with penalties. Again, this is one of the most penalized teams in the NFL. That you can control. That is a frustrating aspect of yesterday. 9-10 penalties in a football game? Unacceptable. Coming off a bye week? Look how prepared they were for Pittsburgh. They won't be as prepared for Cleveland and for the rest of the year. And you really looked at that game as your one opportunity to really get a win outside of maybe Chicago and Atlanta. So the people, unfortunately, are going to still talk about how, are they going to win a game? I just don't even care at this point whether or not they win a football game. Mm-hmm. Jared Goff, you are stuck with him for next year. I know you guys are commenting, and today's the bash on Jared Goff day. But you're stuck with him till next year, till the end of it. Whether or not you draft a rookie quarterback in the first or second or third round is on Brad Holmes. But this is a guy you're going to pay $30 million on the books next year, regardless of what you think. You don't have a choice. And the best case scenario for the Lions is to just keep this guy in. Win 5 games next year, maybe even 6, if you're capable of it. But if he's going to play this bad, he's not going to be in the league. He's not getting a new contract. No. He'll never be a starting quarterback. Welcome to life in Detroit, Jared Goff. This is what you came here for. You came here to be on a part of a rebuild. You were always a bridge quarterback. And I'm not going to sit here and slam a guy who I've told you before he ever played it down in Detroit that he was a below average quarterback. I'm not going to sit here and pile on. I'm just not. So you guys can talk about David Blau. Oh, maybe he should get the opportunity. Maybe David Blau should start. Why? My friends, you are in a rebuild. Jared Goff is positioning you for the number 1 overall pick right now. Adam, we still want to win. You'll win a game. You'll likely win a game this year. Trust me. If you learned anything from the last few weeks, you'll probably win a game. Maybe 1, maximum 2. That's your ceiling this year, whether David Blau is your quarterback or Jared Goff. David Blau's not stepping in and slinging the ball 35 times for 300 yards. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So just temper the expectation, deal with the sucking for this year, and next year you'll have a much better product where you'll actually be in close games. Whether or not you win them is probably irrelevant because you're not going to have your franchise quarterback unless you draft one. So when you get the quarterback and you retool offensively on the skill positions and you address your defensive line and secondary, then we can talk about whether or not this team should be winning football games. Until then, I don't want to hear it. I really don't. You guys want to criticize Goff? Be my guest. I told you he sucked before the season started. But he's a playoff winning quarterback and he's been to a Super Bowl. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't. Tom Brady can walk from New England and go to Tampa Bay and win a Super Bowl. He's Tom freaking Brady.
Right.
Jared Goff is not Tom Brady. Okay, guys, just come on. Give and take. I'm going to give you that the offensive line looked really good yesterday. But they were protected because they weren't being asked to drop back, 30, 40 times in a game? And when Jared Goff did step back, the ball was out like that. And what we talked about earlier in the year, he's holding on to the ball for too long. It's making the offensive line look worse than it is. Penn State looking worse than he is. Why? Because Jared Goff is just holding on to the ball for way too long. And yesterday he was really getting rid of it. Really quickly. And that makes things a lot easier. But regardless, guys, don't worry about the record. If they're 1-16 or 1-15-1 or 2-14-1 at the end of the year, who cares? Don't look at the record. Next year, we can objectively look at the record and say, across the board, did we improve? Offensively, defensively, win-loss column. Did we make an improvement? Were we the same as the year before? Who knows? But this is a really bad football team. It's really bad, and it's actually pathetic.
Yeah.
Teams can go through a rebuild and not look this bad. This is really bad. Kennedy?
All right, you guys. We have to hit the break. Up next, we'll talk more Lions, specifically Dan Campbell and his play calling. We'll also have our very own Lions beat reporter, Corey Woods, join the show. So make sure you're sticking around for that. But first, our friends over at Northwestern Tech.
All right. Well, our friends at Northwestern Tech can give a lot of people opportunities. You know, opportunities for guys like Ryan Santozo for missing that field goal yesterday. I have an opportunity for you, Ryan. It's Northwestern Tech. You could start a new career in an industry that is always essential. It's the heating and cooling industry. You can learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. Did you know mortgage rates are still at generational lows? If you haven't refinanced your home loan yet, there's still time. Now is your second chance to refinance. You could lower your monthly payment, eliminate credit card debt, or even take cash out by using your home's equity. Call Hall Financial now to get started with your free 5-minute mortgage review. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out with us right here on the Morning Woodward Show. All right, as promised, getting into Dan Campbell and how he was calling those plays yesterday. To me, they were getting stale. It was obvious he wasn't going to let Goff throw the ball. Goff said he had a back injury. But then he came out and threw for 30-plus yards out of nowhere after we hadn't seen him throw yet. But anyway, you guys, I'll throw it to you. We'll have Corey join us. Were you impressed yesterday with Dan Campbell's play calling?
I don't think impressed is the word. I think it's look how desperate they are. and honestly, Corey, I'm glad you're joining. So everybody, Corey Woods, the Detroit Lions beat reporter for the Woodward Sports Network. We're so happy to have you on today, man.
What's going on?
Corey.
Got some questions, man.
Are you telling me it took 10 weeks for Dan Campbell to sit down with his offensive coordinator and just come up with a game plan that wasn't complicated? It was nothing pretty. Nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing like, oh, wow, they really went into the bye week and they really thought of something clever. No, they just pounded the ball on the ground. It took 10 weeks, one, to make that decision. Two, he needed to call the plays. Anthony Lynn couldn't have called a running back dive or a running back toss 30, 40 times in a game. Am I missing something?
I mean, we can only go off of what they're telling us. This is what they said. He said that he took over. He was going to, first off, I like how he was being a little coy about it to begin with the entire time. Oh, I'm going to be more involved in the offense. Then it translated to slowly, okay, last night, yeah, I took over the offense.
Which is out of his character because typically he's very upfront and blunt and very aggressive. Like, yeah, I'm taking over play calling this week.
Well, you know what? I kind of got the sense that I'm not gonna try to read too much into things, but I kind of got a sense that he was going to be a little bit more involved based on how Anthony Lynn was talking last week during the press conference, to the media session. It's kind of like, hey, I mean, he's the coach, you know, blah 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 blah.
Right.
So it kind of felt like, okay, it's about to be where Dan's about to really take over this whole show. And then he kind of confirmed it yesterday because I'm like, maybe I'm reading too much into it. Confirmed yesterday about taking over play calling. And I think that it's a real big indictment that it took 10 weeks to switch it up and go with something different. Now, granted, I don't think anybody should be out here, you know, ready to do a celebration over Campbell taking over the play calling now. I mean, they didn't lose, but that's low-hanging fruit.
Right.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, wow, Dan Campbell had an impressive Sunday with his play calling, but I'm looking at Anthony Lynn. He's not going to have a job by the end of the year.
Oh, absolutely not. I think he's on the way out.
Yeah, he's gone. And if the Lions aren't going to go out and pursue a young, offensive-minded, innovative guy, they're not gonna translate well in the future. Do you really want Dan Campbell calling your plays? He kind of said what he is. He said, "I'm a leader of a group of guys. I can ask you to do your job and you to do your job, and I can hold you both accountable, and I'll hold myself accountable." That's the kind of head coach he is. And like a Bill Parcells, maybe is the way I'm going with it.
And that's fine. I'm cool with that because, you know, it's evident that the players are still playing for. It's evident that at least to some degree, they're not lost upon his message. But holy crap. Just think about how bad of an offensive coordinator job Anthony Lynn has done this season, that it took Dan Campbell to get to this point. And we already know he's not a great X's and O's guy, but it got a tie. It didn't lose. I mean, it's
right. And the fact that he gave him 10 weeks to really decide we're going to take the ball out of Jared Goff's hands means he trusts him. Anthony Lynn, of course. And then now yesterday, I want to ask you about Jared Goff, though. We saw yesterday they completely took the ball out of his hands, which credit to them. They had a chance to win that ball game. But you heard a lot of the rumors with put David Blau in because Jared Goff didn't look good. I mean, physically.
Yeah, he had a rib injury.
So explain the injuries. What was wrong with Jared? I didn't catch it through the TV just watching.
I didn't really see where the injury happened, to be quite honest. I mean, I'm watching the game. I didn't see where that exact moment, but he had a rib oblique injury. That's what he finished with. That's what Dan Campbell said. And if we're just going to go and talk about Jared Goff's play, here's the thing. David Blau is not a better quarterback than Jared Goff. I think we all know that. But at the same time, let's examine the context of yesterday. It's proven it's arguable whether David Blau would have gotten the Lions the win or not. That's debatable. Mm-hmm. But it's proven that Jared Goff was not the best decision to stick with to get the win. He was physically hurt. And what is the point of a backup quarterback? When your starter is hurt or your starter is down, that's what the backup quarterback comes in. And I believe the fact that with Goff being so hurt, you couldn't keep the Pittsburgh Steelers defense honest.
Right.
Because you intentionally turned into a one-dimensional team right before your very eyes. And if he wasn't a first-year head coach, if he wasn't done with dealing with all these scraps, Dan would have been out of there after that game.
I agree with you. And that's kind of where I was going with it, too.
Yeah, I mean, but he's dealing with a raw situation. I think we all understand that. But Goff yesterday, it was really bad. It was one of those points where it's like, all right, you know what? You're hurt. Go ahead and sit you down. And I think the real biggest thing that really stuck with me was they doubled down on the postgame on their decision to stick with them. That's alarming to me.
What did they say post-game with their decision?
They just said that, they talked to him, they talked to Mark Brunell and the coordinators, and everybody felt he was fine. And if he's fine, he's good to go. Go ahead and leave him out there. I disagree with that decision.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, here's why I think they did it. They'll probably never admit it. I think they did that because I don't want people taking words in my mouth. Not saying that David Blau would have gotten them the win. But if David Blau would have gotten under center and pulled off Dan Campbell's first W, how do you look back at Jared Goff?
Well, look, Jared Goff is done, guys. He was done before he ever came to Detroit. He was traded along with 2 first-round picks
what
for
came
a
with him.
reason.
Yep.
The guy has been regressing. Take him out of an offense that has a Robert Woods, a Cooper Kupp, a good offensive line, a good run game, and an innovative head coach, and Sean McVay. This is what he looks like. That's what he is. Sorry. Shouldn't have come as a surprise if you would just listen. But back to Sunday, Corey. I think what I'm going to take away most from this game is this is a really bad football team.
Yeah,
And
it's bad.
I said I'd give Dan till next Thanksgiving. I'm not even sure if it's fair to even say next Thanksgiving from a timeline standpoint because they're that bad. I think he needs maybe more time. Maybe the roster needs a bigger overhaul than what I expected. This is ridiculous. You can't back off your decisions like this, man.
I mean, you have to think of what he's really dealing with. Look at how many undrafted free agents are on the defense.
And they're making noise.
They're making noise, but still,
True.
You're dealing with. I don't like the whole making excuses for people, coaches and whatnot, because injuries are a part of the NFL. But this guy's really dealing with the bottom of the barrel. He really is, and it's like you can question his decisions, but
you look at the bottom of the NFL, man. The rosters are very similar. And I could make the argument that the Lions have more playmakers than some of the bottom tier rosters. Especially on the offensive side of the ball.
It's tough to really pick a
well,
playmaker.
You know what? I think right now, Jared Goff is playing so badly, it's really hard to see what those playmakers on the offense are made of. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're not really able to see the true potential.
But we're 10 weeks in now, Corey. Mm-hmm. And Anthony Lynn's going to lose his job.
100%.
Yeah.
And he hasn't done a good job of getting T.J. Hawkinson open in space. He hasn't used Deandre Swift well enough. And now you get him 33 carries, but he's barely over 3 yards a clip. And, again, you looked good early with Matt Nelson till he went down. And then you were just a predictable offense that was getting 2 yards a carry, and you were punting the ball.
Right.
That's what you were doing from probably early third quarter for the rest of the game. And then you made some plays downfield, and you killed yourself with penalty scoring.
It's an anemic offense. And it's the part of it is blame on the quarterback. The other part of the blame is the offensive coordinator. It's really that simple. It's no way to really see what the true. I think Aaron Glenn is maximizing the potential that he can out that defense,
which is what you want to see in a rebuild, right?
Yeah.
But no one's going to complain in a rebuild if you are getting your players to play one above level, but 2 people are seeing that developmental growth. Like, wow, I can see where this goes in the future with the defense.
The Jalen Elliott's, the A.J. Parkers, the Bobby Prices.
Marlowe's made some plays.
Marlowe, you're seeing those guys step up and make plays, but you're not able to really see the true potential of T.J. Hawkinson taking that next level, Amon-Ra getting to a level.
Yeah.
You're not Khalif Raymond. You're not able to really see what those guys have because, I mean, like I said, don't want to beat a dead horse, but it's the quarterback and offensive coordinator. Those 2 things right there is really handicapping this team, and I believe that if Anthony Lynn is here another year, there's 1 or 2 things going to happen. Either Anthony Lynn has to go, or Jared Goff has to go at the end of the season. Both of them can't come back next year.
It ain't working. Yeah.
Both of them can't come back.
Anthony Lynn's gone.
At least one has to go.
No,
and I believe the money would be on Anthony Lynn.
He's 100% gone, and I don't see why you would keep him. I mean, you want to talk about a fall from grace? The head coach in Los Angeles for the Chargers, young rookie quarterback.
They got a defensive coach, and Justin Herbert looks better.
I know.
Yeah, and the Anthony Lynn story.
But you know what? I want
to
just to piss everybody off this morning. I hope we can say that. I forgot we got to.
Oh, you good? You good?
Just to tick everybody off this morning. I'm not going to sit up and not to make your head explode. I'm not going to sit up here and say that the Lions should have signed Cam Newton. I'm not.
Oh, hell no.
I'm not going to say that. But I was just joking online. I said, you know what? Should the Lions entertain him? Just to see what he has. And a lot of people were like, oh, my God, you don't know football. You're the worst thing ever, blah, 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 blah. Guess what? In Cam Newton, who has played his first game in Week 10, has as many passing touchdowns as Jared Goff since Week 5. 1.
Corey just did it.
Jared Goff, what is it? 1 touchdown the last 5
He's had
games,
1
right?
touchdown since Week 5.
Cam got 2.
And that 1 touchdown that he had was against the Rams, where really Deandre Swift did all the work.
To the house,
Yeah. It's bad. I mean, It's as bad as it gets, especially with Anthony Lynn. I want to talk about, like, if you look at Aaron Glenn, and I know you've been covering the team and asking him questions, like what he's been able to do. You kind of alluded to it with the players he has overachieving. It doesn't help Anthony Lynn's case. Like, name another team that has a dynamic backfield and at least a weapon like T.J. Hockenson. And you can talk about the offensive line all you want. Like, talk about Cleve Raymond. I mean, Anthony Lynn drew up a shot play in the first quarter. Jared Goff didn't hit him. So there's levels to this. But yeah, Anthony Lynn, my God, man. I mean, it's tough. That tandem, Jared Goff and Anthony Lynn, it's a match made in hell. It ain't heaven, and it ain't working out.
Lynn's gone. Lynn's gone at the end of the year.
And he's the easiest. He's the easiest to go.
Scapegoat. He's the easiest scapegoat. Him and Goff. But guys, I'm telling you about Jared Goff. He's $30 million on the books next year.
He's here.
So Brad Holmes needs to make a decision. Am I taking a quarterback early, late in the first round, second or third? And if I do, I'm sitting him probably for the first 6-8 games.
Right.
And when Goff looks like what he looks like now, I'm benching him and I'm putting in the rookie.
I think that from just looking at a few things, I'm thinking that they should probably go in the later rounds with the quarterback. I wouldn't go. I mean, like second or third. I wouldn't go with the first couple. But I mean,
I think third round is a good spot, but it depends. Yeah, you have to remember if you got number 1 overall, and you're not sold on Kayvon Thibodeau, well then you got to find a buyer who A wants Thibodeau or B wants a quarterback. And if that package makes you drop down to 4 or 5 or whatever it may be, and you can still end up with an edge rusher like Hutchinson, well, then you're in business. Mm-hmm. But I think the consensus is they're probably going to take Thibodeau number 1 overall unless something drastically changes. You probably go, believe his name is Strong out of
Carson.
Not Strong. Carson Strong, excuse me, Jamal Battles out of Alabama.
Oh, Jordan Battle.
Jordan Battle. Outside,
yeah, I know
Alabama.
what you're talking about. Safety.
I think maybe that's a safety. You go in the second, not second round, late first round.
Yep.
Second round, you can go on a flyer quarterback like a Carson Strong. You can try to go on a flyer, maybe pick it, depending how you don't know where these quarterbacks. Guys, Zach Wilson this time last year was a projected 3rd round pick. Zach Wilson, the number 2 overall pick, was projected 3rd overall.
It looked like they took him too high.
So if the market's there, Lions are going to be in a good position. If it's not there, then you know what to do. Address the defensive side of the ball. Aaron Glenn, you could have a top 12 defense next year, given his ability to coach.
Yep.
Aaron Glenn has shown more than anybody has.
I want to see what Aaron Glenn does with better talent. Because what he's squeezing out right now, I'm like,
imagine Aaron Glenn right now as the defensive coordinator with the Los Angeles Rams.
Imagine Aaron.
You tell me he wouldn't be able to replicate what Brandon Staley did?
Imagine Aaron Glenn with the defense that Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn got rid of.
Yeah, right. And that's what bums me out. You saw what Aaron Glenn was able to do with Marshawn Lattimore. That kind of stress. That's what bums me out with Jeff Okudah. Has missed the whole season. That was a big, big piece for him. But with this team, like, man, I give you credit. I know that we haven't had a win so far. You've been covering the team. You got your first tie.
Got my first tie. It's not an L. Not an L.
Not an L. That's what you got to look at now. Moral victories, man. I mean, but I wouldn't have a problem if the Lions took a quarterback, not even next year, if they waited another year. Just sign competition. I just want at least somebody behind Jared Goff.
I don't need anybody behind Jared Goff because I'm paying him $30 million. That dude is going to go out there
better than David
and he's
Block.
going to get hurt whether he likes it or not. He's going to stay on the field until he is crippled. You know why? 1, I'm paying him $30 million. 2, I know that I'm 3 years away from having an 8, 9, 10 win football team. So for the next 2, Jared, lose me as many games as you want because I got 4 first-round picks in the next 2 drafts. Maximize them. I don't care what Jared Goff does. He's not staying in Detroit, guys. He's not getting another contract.
Here's my question to you. This is my big question for really the whole Lions fan base. Lions fans have always screamed, we want a true rebuild. We want a true rebuild. We want a true rebuild. This is what a true rebuild looks like. Mm-hmm. You lose because you don't have the proper talent. So, are you going to give Dan Campbell the leeway to go ahead and see this through?
I think it's more of a Brad Holmes question, right?
Yeah.
Because Dan Campbell, again, if the talent is that bad around him, I can make the argument you got to keep Dan Campbell until you've put enough around him where you can see how he can coach.
Yes.
But with Brad Holmes, I mean, they're taking the Cleveland Browns route. You've addressed the O-line. O-line looks good. You've got 2 – you like your backfield. Mm-hmm. Oh, but you don't have the quarterback. So you don't have edge rushers. So you need to draft a Myles Garrett. You need to draft a Baker Mayfield-esque. I mean, that's kind of what you're trying to build around. And you need to take a Denzel Ward. And you need to get secondary players. Mm-hmm. That takes years to do. You can't do that all in one draft.
Right.
Good thing
This
they got
is a
John Dorsey if they're
3-4
taking that
draft
Browns
window.
approach.
This is a real rebuild. This is your pure definition of one. You are going to suck for the next 24 months. Get used to it. Just get used to it. And by year 3, Dan Campbell better put out an 8-9 win product. Why? Because I believe if Brad Holmes does his job, this is all based on if Brad Holmes does his job.
Of course.
And the
gets the
coaching
right-
staff does their job,
and-
that they're going to have a damn good team in 2 to 2.5 years.
And I don't know. I think the verdict right now is out on if Brad Holmes is doing a good job or not, because a lot of these guys that they're acquiring are not really, being that big, putting that big of a contribution up. I mean, you got Trinity Benson, you got Kadero Hodge. What have those guys done since getting here? Nothing. They're basically been useless. I don't know. And the thing is, I don't know if that's on them or I don't know if that's on Anthony Lynn.
I got to bring up one more dude, and maybe I'm being too much before we go to break. But there's one dude. If I could, I would love to just ask him why, in the most agonizing way. Mark Brunell, you dared compare this guy, the number 16, to Drew freaking Brees? Are you serious?
Yeah,
and we laughed up here when it happened. Like you're just complimenting the dude. He is not that good. What the hell are you seeing? I'm gonna take Sean McVay's word over Mark Brunell's any day of the week. That looks really dumb. But Corey, we got to go to break. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
No problem.
I'm sorry that you haven't covered a win yet.
It's cool, but I just got to say this, man. I think we got to give Sean McVay his flowers because boy, did he make. He
made some chicken soup out of chicken, you know what?
Yeah.
He
He took it right out of my mouth. I was going to say chicken salad, but same difference.
Imagine Detroit expecting to go to an NFC Championship game, expecting to win your division with that bum at your quarterback. With that bum
paying
as
him what
your
you're paying
quarterback.
him. Yeah.
I'm unreal. We got to go to break, but before we go, I got to tell you guys about my bookie. Let me tell you. From all the biggest games to the smallest events, make every bet worth your while with MyBookie. Start by doubling your first deposit instantly with MyBookie's first deposit bonus. Double your money before you even place a bet. All you have to do is sign up using code Woodward at MyBookie. Bet from anywhere, anytime using MyBookie. There are a ton of great games and prop bets tonight, guys. NHL action. Pistons are in action tonight. And, of course, Monday Night Football, the Rams heading to San Francisco. Lots of games to watch tonight. But please, if you have a gambling problem, please call the Gambling Problem Hotline at 1-800-270-7117.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us right here on the Morning Woodward Show. You guys know what time it is. It is Monday, which means we have our overreactions to get to. Jeff, I want to start with you on this beautiful Monday.
Oh, it's the easy one. I'm going right for the heart. Jared Goff's the worst quarterback in the NFL. And if you look at the statistics, I mean, look at his he averaged 1.9 air yards per completion yesterday. Lowest number in the league, and that's been that way for so far. We're 9-10 weeks into the season. It's been that way for probably 8 out of 9 weeks. He threw for versus San Francisco week 1, aired the ball out. Other than that, he's been pretty much bottom of the league in every statistical category. He's 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. The only reason why he still has a positive touchdown ratio is because he isn't throwing the ball. So we'll see how long that lasts. But yeah, Jared Goff to me is probably the worst quarterback in the NFL.
Not probably. He is, and I don't even think that's an overreaction. I just think that's the overfact Monday. It's not even an overreaction, to be honest. Jared Goff is just that bad. But my first overreaction Monday, I'm going to say it in the most sarcastic way I can. Matt LaFleur is an average coach. Matt Rule is doing a horrible job out in Carolina. Both are subpar pedestrian coaches. What a shame that they're in the NFL. What a shame.
He's the most handsome coach in the NFL.
I know you have a crush on Matt
I have
LaFleur.
a giant crush on him, and I do not like the Packers in any way, but I do like him. Do you have any other overreactions?
My first overreaction, my legitimate one.
Okay.
Michigan, for the first time in 10 years, will beat Ohio State on November 27th. They will. This is the year. Now, whether or not they make an appearance in Indianapolis, we'll have to wait and see. They need a lot of things to go in their favor, but I think this is the year. I really do. Things are folding out really well. We'll talk about the Michigan-Penn State game, and that's a huge monkey off their backs. That's their first real legitimate road win in maybe 4 years under Jim Harbaugh. And if that doesn't get the team going, and if that doesn't get them, more together from a camaraderie standpoint, more geared up for Maryland and then Ohio State, I don't know what will. If it isn't this year, Jim, I don't think it's ever going to happen for you. So that'll be my first overreaction.
And I'll say this, with the Chiefs in the run, they're 6-4 now. I think they have a legitimate chance to win their division because the Chargers just lost, of course. The Broncos just lost too. So it's a very tight niche division. I mean, you looked at it the last 2 weeks. The Raiders have led it, and now the Kansas City Chiefs beat them 41-14. Absolutely beat the brakes off them. Patrick Mahomes, 5 touchdowns. We'll see how long they can keep this up. But right now, Kansas City Chiefs might win this division. And I don't know how much that means to really any Chiefs fan. You're probably still going to lose early in the playoffs because your defense is really bad. But Chiefs have a real shot to win this division and make the playoffs. So I'll leave it at that.
All right, second overreaction on a Monday. Cincinnati and Notre Dame make me want to vomit. They should not be in the AP top 5.
Yes, they should.
The fact that Cincinnati is showing up in the AP polls at number 2 right now?
My overreaction was that this is the first time that the AP polls have had Notre Dame where they should be. Number 6, baby. That's right.
Notre Dame, congratulations. Not only did you beat one of the best teams in the country the other week against Navy, but you followed it up with an impressive road win against Virginia.
That's right.
It's an impressive road win.
They looked so good.
I don't. I just don't get it anymore. Just expand the playoffs already, so I don't have to deal with this. And Cincinnati and teams like Notre Dame can lose by 40, and we can just move off the subject. It's just so frustrating. Unbelievable. I think my biggest overreaction from this weekend, or my biggest takeaway, is actually has nothing to do with football. Cade Cunningham is not only the closer for the Detroit Pistons, but he has superstar written all over him. An unselfish game, total awareness of when he needs to have the ball in his hands and when he really doesn't. His ability to get to the basket. Guys, he started the game over the weekend 1 for 6 from the field. All 6 were attempts from the three-point line. The fact that he matured throughout the game, started driving, getting to the free throw line, making buckets, that is a sign of a mature young star. It's a star in the making, Detroit. I think you have one. I think you have something special with Cade Cunningham, 100%.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. If you watch the games over the weekend, you'll know exactly what Adam's talking about. But my next one's an NBA overreaction as well. I mean, Steph Curry is my MVP right now. He's second in scoring, 28 points a game. The Warriors have the best record in the league without Klay Thompson, of course, without James Wiseman, and he's top 5 in PER. And he had a positive efficiency rating yesterday against the Hornets, and they lost by 4, and he had a plus 14 in that game. I mean, he's the most important player in the league right now in terms of what's around him. So you know what, Steph Curry is my MVP as of right now. That's my
While
overreaction.
we're on the subject of the Warriors, can I just ask something? Since when have they had red in their logo and uniform? Did I miss something?
They might be wearing alternates. I don't know. I mean, usually it's yellow.
I was infuriated. They had the Warriors game on at the bar that I was at.
Did they not match your fashion
They
policy?
didn't. Why would you have all 3 primary colors on the floor and on the uniforms? It was horrendous. It was so ugly. Anyway, it was really taking me off at the bar. I was like, have they always done this? I'm confused.
I'm so glad
it was the old
They
school
were so
Oakland.
ugly.
It was the old school Oakland jerseys. That's why.
I hated them.
Yeah,
Never do that
they're
again.
throwbacks.
All right, well, my last overreaction is more so of a prayer because I will be attending the Michigan-Ohio State game on the 27th.
So that's why
I am praying, and book it now. Ohio State and Michigan will be 10-1 when they face off in Ann Arbor. I am so excited for that game.
Yeah. No,
I am so excited.
Realistically, I'm jealous of you. You get to witness either a Michigan win or you get to come in
I'm
Monday.
kind of upset with myself. I bought 4 tickets. I should have bought 8. I should have bought 8. Had I known Michigan would have won and not choked on the road against Penn State, if I knew this and they take care of business on Maryland, those tickets are much more valuable. A 10-1 Michigan playing an Ohio State team on the 27th. That's a big game. I'm excited. But fun fact for you guys.
Okay.
We'll talk about this more when we talk about Michigan, Penn State, and Michigan State later on. But regarding the college football playoff, if Michigan State wins out, this is just a question. I'll leave it out there before we go to break. If Michigan State wins out, they go to Indianapolis and they take care of business, but Michigan wins out as well, are you taking a one-loss Oregon Pac-12 champion, a potential two-loss Alabama? I think if they lose to Georgia, that likely eliminates them. Or are you taking a Cincinnati or Notre Dame over a one-loss Michigan team with their only loss coming to the Big Ten one-loss champion?
Notre Dame.
It's really interesting. Shut up, Kennedy. Go to break.
All right, we do have to go to break. Up next, we will cover that Michigan game for you guys. But first, our friends at Guardian Alarm.
All right, listen, Guardian Alarm, we're talking about defensively and how the Lions have been overachieving. Well, Guardian Alarm always overachieves. They get it. A good defense on and off the field helps you feel secure. Guardian Alarm has state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel safe, all with 24/7 local monitoring. Guardian Alarm also has convenient features that let you check in on your home, control lights and temperatures, detect smoke or carbon monoxide. It will even let you lock and unlock doors. Call 800-STAY-OUT today. That's 800-STAY-OUT today. Guardian Alarm has been trusted for over 90 years at keeping families safe.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show. U of M took their 9th win of the season this week. Michigan took on Penn State on the road, winning 21-17, arguably Harbaugh's best win of the season. So, you guys, just how good is this Michigan team, Adam?
Michigan are what they have been all year. A really good football team, a very talented defense, the two best edge rushers outside of Kayvon Thibodeau in the nation. The combination of Ojabo and Hutchinson, I think, is unmatched in college football. They are playing at such a high level. Mike McDonald has done a phenomenal job. The whole rebuild in general with his staff that Harbaugh took over this offseason, it's a credit to him. When you bring in 10, 15 guys under the age of 45, you're trying to get yourself acclimated with the younger players again. You're trying to bring in that culture of, hey, this is Michigan. Who's got it better than us? Nobody. The whole mantra of Jim Harbaugh when he walked in. And they look good. They really do. Hassan Haskins showing that he can be a feature back by himself. Would it be nice to have Blake Corum? Absolutely. But I think Michigan did a good job of controlling the clock after the first quarter. A disastrous first quarter, by the way. It was really bad. And they were only down 3. And I think that kind of led me to this is probably Michigan's day. The fact that they were only down 3-0, the awful play calling by James Franklin, keeping Michigan in a one-possession game. I thought it was everything worked out in Michigan's favor. I think they earned it, though. I thought it was an impressive win, a huge road win. The first time they've won at Penn State, since 2015? It's a great win. It's a really a huge win that I think propels them to a 10-1 record heading into Ann Arbor against Ohio State. If they can handle business against Maryland, they're going to look good. And what does Maryland like to do? They like to throw the football. What does Michigan like to do? Rush the quarterback. It's setting up to be a really friendly matchup for Michigan. But I'll focus on the game. Cade McNamara does what he does. He throws the ball 1 or 2 yards across the line of scrimmage, and your tight ends or your receivers will make the plays for him. And there's nothing wrong with that, except when you play in an Ohio State or even a Michigan State to an extent. That's when it becomes problematic. Cade McNamara, I got to give him credit. He looked good. And I would even say good, maybe average. Eric All made the play of the game, let's be honest. He caught the ball 1.5 yards past the line of scrimmage and busted coverage, takes it to the house. Michigan win, huge win. But you can't play like that on offense against C.J. Stroud and Ohio State. They are likely going to put up 35-plus points. You are not going to be able to score more than 35 points against Ohio State running the ball 35 to 40 times. It's going to be very difficult. And I think from now, Josh Gaddis really needs to come up with a creative game plan on, one, how to get his receivers more separation, but two, how to get McNamara maybe rolling out more. Get him mobile and have him throw underneath routes. Have him throw over the top routes. Get your team ready for Ohio State. I think this is the biggest and probably the most important thing to take away is you cannot run the ball like this if you want to win the Big Ten championship. That's just the truth. You could do it against Wisconsin, Purdue, maybe even Iowa. You're not going to be able to do this against Ohio State. And if they do, and if they run the ball 40 times and they go for over 230 yards and they control the clock and it's a low-scoring game, hell of a job. But I've got 10 years of sample size that tells me you probably can't do that. So, Cade needs to hit the ball downfield more. What has Peyton Thorne done for Michigan State all year that Cade hasn't? He's delivered on the downfield throws all year. Fourth quarter comes, you need a fourth down conversion. Peyton Thorne is there. Cade hasn't. And that's going to be my biggest concern heading into Ohio State, is can this young man really, really put the team on his shoulders? He did a great job against Michigan State. Got to give him credit. For 3 quarters, though. Fourth quarter, he was nowhere to be found. Fourth quarter, he overthrew an opportunity to send Michigan back up by 14. This is your reality. And if you're going to rely on the run, you better hope the defense shows up. And if they don't, it's going to be another ugly-ass whooping by Ohio State.
I mean, the game, if we look at just isolating the game versus Penn State, obviously they ran the ball effectively. Their offensive line and defensive line are the only reasons why. We talk about them having a chance at Ohio State. I mean, they have the best pass rush combination in college football. Hutchinson, who's easily a top 5, top 10 pick, and a Jabo, who might even go into the first round as well. So, I mean, they're a dangerous team defensively. And if Cade McNamara plays like that, takes care of the football.
You want to hear something wild?
What's up?
Ojabo 2 weeks ago was a projected 5th round pick. 2 weeks ago. Come draft time, he's 100% going in the first round.
Yeah.
I love stories like this.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's some stories that concern me, like Zach Wilson, but continue.
No, yeah. Yeah, the Zach Wilson one won't allow people to sleep at night. But with this defense and how they've been playing, you saw what they were able to do in the run game with Hassan Haskins. I mean, they fed the beast, and he went off yesterday without Blake Corum. But they're going to take care of the job against Maryland. I mean, you saw it. They played a tough, they're 23rd ranked, Penn State, but they took a 17-14 lead with 5 minutes left, and this is what Michigan, in years past, they would have lost this game. I mean, they won a game they would have lost in years past. They drive down the field. They answered with a 6-play, 75-yard touchdown drive. Eric All getting to the 2-yard line, and then Cade McNamara with the play action, giving a nice pass to Roman Wilson for a touchdown, which Roman Wilson, over the last couple of weeks, has been a real red zone target for him. And, you know, Cade Cunningham, not Cunningham, we're talking about Cade Cunningham. Cade McNamara, we can give praise where it's due. And Cade McNamara played a good game. I mean, he had some mistakes, but the point still stands. Like, it's what he limits your offense. You know, when you go against an Ohio State, look at C.J. Stroud and what he's able to do as a freshman. Cade McNamara is a junior, and he still won't be able to kind of do those things in terms of airing the ball out downfield. The Eric All, it was all yards after catch. Most of these passes were yards after catch. So you got to give credit where it's due. I think if we look at Michigan and Michigan State, yes, State beat Michigan, but Michigan has the best chance to beat Ohio State. I think we can all acknowledge that because they have
Michigan State.
No, Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Because what they have defensively, I mean, definitely Michigan State. Yeah, they have an electric offense, which we'll get into, but defensively, they're not going to be able to stop C.J. Stroud. They're not going to be able to get after the quarterback.
A bad secondary, a good pass rush.
Right.
Michigan have a good pass rush, and it's kind of protected their secondary all year. Michigan State, one, lacking a pass rush in the big games, but more importantly, their secondary is just bad, even if they had a good pass rush. Michigan State's secondary is there to be taken advantage of. It's their clear weakness. And when the committee tells me a more complete team, this is why.
You get it.
Not because I think so. No. That's actually why. Because I could make the argument, it's very close. You can give it either way. Every part of the team outside of the defensive line. But there's one glaring issue with Michigan State, and that's their secondary.
Mm-hmm. And they got exposed versus Maryland, which we're going to do.
Guys, if it's not this year, Jim Harbaugh especially, I'm talking to you, Jim. If it's not this year, when is it? Honestly. This is year 7. I think you're on pace probably to get your 4th 10-win season in 7 years. Impressive. One of which being a COVID year, so that doesn't really even count. You come off a 2-4 year, you're 9-1 right now. Likely 10-1 after next week if you can handle business against Maryland. But where I'm going with this is, Jim, you were brought here to win these football games, man. Beat Ohio State. Even if you can't win the Big Ten championship. Even if you can't win it. Even if, so let's say, State runs the table. Beat Ohio State, and you likely secure yourself another 3 to 5 years as the head coach of this program. Minimum. Mm-hmm. If it's not this year against Ryan Day and this Ohio State team, when is it? When is it? Jim, you got to take care of business this year.
This is their best opportunity.
This is your best opportunity. It's your best defensive front I've seen in years. Probably outside your second year, maybe in Ann Arbor. This is the best defense you've ever had. Don't waste it. Do not waste it. So, to kind of recap the game against Penn State, I thought they did fine. They controlled the clock after the first quarter, ran the ball very well. Caden McNamara made all the checkdowns he was asked to. The players made people miss in the open field. But, again, are you going to rely on this game plan against Ohio State? And look, I'm not saying you have to play the way Ohio State plays. No, I'm not asking you to drop back 50 times against Ohio State. Not at all. But if you think running the ball on first down and second down and then a 3rd and 8 or a 3rd and 6 is going to work against Ohio State consistently, it's really not. They've got playmakers on the edge. They've got playmakers in the secondary, and they're fast. This isn't Wisconsin. This isn't Rutgers. This isn't Nebraska. This isn't even Michigan State. This is Ohio State. They've got players in the secondary. Whether or not they can guard your players is irrelevant. I promise you, they are just as fast, if not faster than you. And those underneath rounds aren't going to work as effectively as they do against teams like Penn State. So it's gearing up to be a hell of a game. And whether or not Ohio State wins by 2-3 touchdowns, we'll have to wait and see. But Jim, if you lose by 2-3 touchdowns, I can't sit up here and defend you anymore. We're 7 years in. I could defend you saying, well, going against Urban Meyer is no easy task. One of the greatest college football coaches of all time, and he fielded a national champion and a multiple college football playoff appearing team. And Ryan Day takes over. They haven't missed a beat. Mm-hmm. That's where my head's going right now. So, Jim, take care of business. Take care of business against Maryland, and do yourself a favor. Go and beat Ohio State. Not that you're better than them right now. No, not at all. Ohio State is clearly the best team in the Big Ten, and it's not even close. But, Jim, you were brought here for this very reason. I will keep saying it. You need to beat Ohio State, or this is a lost season even if you finish 10-2. Even if you finish 10-2. Kennedy?
All right, you guys, it's about that time, so I got to tell you about the Woodward Sports Turkey Games. You guys can win two tickets. Wow, 2 tickets to the Detroit Lions Thanksgiving game if you qualify for our Turkey Games. Now, to qualify, if you're listening or watching at 9 a.m., noon, or 3 p.m. during our live shows, you will have the chance to qualify. And make sure you're following Woodward Sports on social media so you can join the extra qualifying chances. All right, we will give you the chance to sit front row on Thanksgiving. All you have to do is survive our Turkey Games. So make sure you're listening to all of our live shows. The winner of Turkey Games getting 2 Thanksgiving tickets, like I said. So if you can master all of our challenges, which is red light, green light, egg toss, and the honeycomb challenge, you will be sitting front row at the Lions game for Thanksgiving. All right, we will qualify someone in about 5 minutes after the break.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We're recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Welcome back, everyone. All right, we got to get into some more Lions talk. We had a lot of injuries yesterday. Jefferson ruled out after his 28-yard touchdown in the second quarter, which kind of just left us with Deandre Swift. And then Goff with his back injury, not really throwing the ball, yada, yada. We saw some injuries on the other side, too, of course, which sucked. Watt got hurt. But you guys, Swift goes for 135 yards from scrimmage. Lions combined for a rush total of 229 yards. Your thoughts on the game?
Overall, they made their game plan very clear and obvious. We talked about this with Corey, Lions beat reporter, earlier. Dan Campbell took over the play calling, and they were hell-bent and committed completely to not giving Jared Goff the ball. Plain and simple. And that tells me everything I needed to know, but I knew this before the season started. So I don't want to spend too much time on Goff. What I do want to spend time on is praising Aaron Glenn and the defense. Bobby Price, A.J. Brown. These kids are going to Heinz Field and holding, let's be honest, a pretty decent Pittsburgh Steelers team to 16 points. And I know weather conditions really helped out. And I know that they could stack the box, one, because Big Ben wasn't playing, but also Chase Claypool was out. So it was really just Deontay Johnson. And then Ray J. McLeod, had a good game himself. But still, you weren't really concerned with anybody outside of Deontay Johnson and Najee Harris. And a ghost holding call kept them out of the end zone early on in the game with Najee. So they settled for a field goal. You were looking good. Close game all throughout, but you killed yourself with penalties. And if I am correct on the number, I believe it was 10 total penalties for over 100 yards. This is the third or fourth time this year. No, way more. Probably fourth or fifth time that the Lions have had more than 8 penalties in a game.
Yeah, they had 8 for 84, so it's still...
This is one of the most penalized teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
And you can't win. You can't win like this. The Steelers didn't shoot themselves in the foot, and they were still in a close game. It just tells you how well the Lions played from a defensive standpoint, and really how poor both offenses were, let's be honest.
Right.
Rudolph looked like a backup. Jared Goff looked like a backup. And when you have two backups on the field, the under plays out like it did in the NFL over the weekend. Plain and simple. So I'm not going to take too much away from Jared Goff. I know what he is. I don't want to comment on him. I don't want to waste my time with him anymore. What I do want to say is, Aaron Glenn, you're doing a hell of a job, man. You're doing a hell of a job, and I can't wait to retool this team in the offseason to see what this defense is going to look like. Guys, don't be surprised if this is a top 15 defense next year, given that, one, they're healthy, two, Okudah turns out to be at least a good secondary player, whether he's at safety, whether he's a corner, at least he's a viable option. If that's the case, and they address and they go out and get an edge rusher with the first overall pick, second, third, wherever they end up being, that's going to be a damn good defense. I could look you in the face next offseason, guys, and tell you, expect the Detroit Lions to have a top 15 defense. And that be the identity of this football team. And whether or not they're grooming the future quarterback, I think, is up for discussion. But you won't really know until Brad Holmes makes that decision. That's what we can be talking about, or that's what we can take away from Sunday's game.
Yeah, just strictly DeAndre Swift. I mean, the 33 carries for 130. I mean, 3.9. Most of those yards were before overtime in the fourth quarter. He kind of started slowing up a little bit and shrunk that average yards per carry down to 3.9. But Godwin looked good in the run game, especially. Should have got more carries for him. Jamar Jefferson, until he was injured, looked good. But yeah, defensively, there's a whole lot to talk about. You could talk about even guys like Dean Marlowe, who was borderline going to get cut, and he comes out, makes some plays. A.J. Parker back, has a pass deflection. He's looking good. I mean, all these corners, even without Jeff Okudah, they look solid. And the secondary, no doubt. I mean, Anzalone leading the team in tackles like he usually does. They're setting the tone. Yeah, there were penalties, and that's something you have to fix on both sides of the ball defensively as well. But if you're just looking at in terms of individual talent and what they were able to do, I mean, Mark Gilbert, former Steeler from the practice squad, comes over his first game, with the Lions, pass deflection, looked good. Derek Barnes, another pass deflection. These are all young guys. These are all early 20s. You're coming into the next year. If you add 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 guys through the draft, 1 or 2 in the first round, you got a serious defense. I mean, the top 15, top 20 defense next year is highly likely, considering you have somewhere in the 20s with the talent you have now. It's bottom of the league. I mean, Julian Okwara had the interception yesterday. I mean, it was awesome to watch. Just the development from those guys and the defensive unit. But there's things you could definitely take away defensively. Offensively, a lot of frustration. Play calling, Anthony Lynn, Jared Goff. I mean, there's a whole lot of things. The only thing, TJ Hockenson not being utilized. I mean, 1 target for the entire game. But at the end of the day, it is the defense. I mean, that has been the strong suit all year. If it's the Ravens game when they had a game, if you look at the Lions, them being the one of the only teams in the NFL right now that have lost as many times as they have to game-winning field goals, it's a lot about the defense. I mean, they've been keeping them in these games, and it's just been the fact.
Lions fans, honestly, I have a question. I really do. We have to announce a winner?
We do.
Okay, announce a winner quickly.
All right, so if you want to join our Squid Games / Turkey Games, write the word tie in the chat. Just tie, T-I-E. First one to do that, you'll qualify. Okay, keep going, Adam.
All right, Lions fans, while you enter, what is it, tie? Yeah. While you try to qualify with tie, I have an honest question for you guys this morning. How upset are you actually going to be after loss after loss after loss? I'm really curious. Like, take me inside the mind of a frustrated Detroit Lions fan, because I can take away a lot of good things from the defense all year. All year. And this is an offense that scored over 20 points how many times? Once in 10 games? 9 games? That's awful.
Yeah.
This is clearly a rebuild. And guys, you've been asking for a rebuild. Matt Patricia, Bob Quinn, they ruined. Okay, your salary cap right now is not in a good place. The next 16 months, it'll require you to be patient. And if you can be patient, and Brad Holmes makes good decisions, this is going to be a good roster by the end of next season.
Yep.
And what does that mean? That means year 3 of Dan Campbell, you are walking into the preseason with the discussion being, can this team win 9, 10, 11 games? Can they even compete for the division? Can they over-deliver? And if they don't, well, you know you have a coaching problem, because clearly talent isn't the issue. That's the best case scenario for you. Or you deliver and you're like, we got the talent, we got the front office, the head coach looks like he knows what he's doing. Do we have the quarterback? And if you have the quarterback, you should be able to win the division that following year. That's the NFL, guys. This is how it works. So, again, back to my question. How frustrated will you be by Thanksgiving, let's say, of next year? And from this point on, you've only won 1 or 2 games up until then.
Oh, I'm furious. I mean, any Lions fan should be furious. It depends, like Chuck said in the chat. I was going to say this exact thing. It depends what you're getting out of those losses, of course.
Okay, if you're seeing fundamental improvement from your players' development, the head coach... Look, the coaching hasn't looked good this year outside of Aaron Glenn. Let's be honest. But if I tell you by Thanksgiving of next year, you've only won 3 or 4 games since this point, but you're playing close games. The defense looks solid. Offensively, you have let's say you drafted a quarterback, he comes in, he looks like he's something. And the roster looks really good, but the team doesn't know how to win. So then you go into the next offseason, you retool, the roster's much better. Now you come in with clear expectations for year 3 of, hey, I think we can win 8, 9, 10 football games.
Right.
And if we do that, I think we have a coach. And if we don't, Freddie Kitchens, goodbye. Hugh Jackson, goodbye. We're going to bring in our Kevin Stefanski. We're going to bring in our Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Matt Rule, etc., etc. And if you do that, you likely turn it around. And then you become a respectable franchise. But guys, I told you this so many times. Please listen. You will not get rid of the same old Lions narrative in one season. Stop trying to win. Stop trying to win all of history back at one time. It's like gambling. You can't win all your money back in one time. You need to win it over time. And if in the next 6, 7, 8 years, I told you you can win 2, 3 divisions, multiple playoff wins, maybe even an NFC championship appearance, I think that is enough to get rid of the same old Lions mentality. But you can't do that until A, you nail the head coach, B, you've nailed the front office, and C, you nail the quarterback. Right now, I have questions at every single one. Brad Holmes needs time. He needs to develop the team. I'm not really worried about him. Proven track record as a player scout. He understands what talent looks like. He nailed the Penei Sewell pick. Penei Sewell looks damn good. Jamar Jefferson, 7th round running back, looked really good before he got hurt yesterday. The guy's got an eye for talent. Amon-Ra St. Brown really starting to blossom over the last few weeks. Okay, good. Dan Campbell, again, way too early to judge. I hope there's something there, but if there isn't, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. You go out and you find your young, offensive-minded guy. That's where the league is going. But I don't even want to worry about Dan Campbell right now. Quarterback, I know I have a really bad one. I'll move off him this year or the following year. Regardless, by year 3, Brad Holmes would have had more than enough time, cap, and draft picks to position this football team in a way where they can win 8, 9, 10 football games. It's that simple. And if they don't, you look at the talent. If the talent's there, you look at the coaching. If the coaching is there, you look at the quarterback. If the quarterback is there and they're still not doing any of this, there's a clear fundamental problem with the team. That's your timeline. Year 3 is when we can all sit up here and say, I expect this team going into Sunday to win the football game. All of next year, it'll be the same thing. I don't think they're going to win this weekend. They're in a rebuild. How long are you willing to wait? Are you willing to wait on my timeline till year 3, which is what I think is what it's going to take? Or is it, I need it now, or I'm willing to give Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes till year 4, let's say. But may I remind you that Matt Rule, look, I know 5-5 right now. You guys can dog on him all you want. But he took the number 31st and 28th defense overall ranked in points and yards. And year 1, they went 5-11, the same record as last year, but they had the 18th and 18th ranked defense in yards and points. So they improved. And then this year, they're a top 10 defense. And they're 5-5 already. He matched last year's win total already, and that's with an average quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold, now Cam Newton and P.J. Walker, and with Christian McCaffrey hurt a majority of the time. Like, it can be done in a 2.5-year window. It really can, if you nail the draft and if you nail free agency. The Lions, unfortunately, have a handcuff in Jared Goff. Cool. Move off of him after that and go load up in free agency. This is going to be a good team in year 3, in my opinion.
And let me ask you this. What does it take? It takes 3 years to at least know Dan can coach?
I think, I said Thanksgiving of next year.
You'll kind of have an idea.
I'll know if he can coach.
Okay.
And I'll be willing to sit up here and say, I think you give him a chance, or I say, I don't think it's going to work. I'm willing to do that next Thanksgiving. Right now, no, it's too early. He took over play calling. He ran the ball 50 times. You don't win like this in the NFL. Even the Titans, who are so run-dependent, throw the football. Even the Niners, zone run scheme, throw the football. You cannot position yourself where you go 14-25 for 111 yards. This idea that we're only going to get 7, 8, 9 yards a throw is historic. It's dinosaur-esque. It's extinct in the NFL. We're done with this movement. So, if you think Deandre Swift is a bell cow back 30 carries a game, he won't last in the league. You got to adapt. And look, it makes it difficult when you don't have the quarterback. That is obvious enough. But if they get the quarterback right and they're still struggling, I got to look at the head coach in the front office. And I think I can't do that until 3 years out. So, Kennedy, we got to go to break. Do you want to announce a winner?
Oh, yeah, I got him. His name's Donovan. Congrats, Donovan. I have
Donovan
you.
what? I'm trying to find him in the chat. Excuse me.
Oh, he's not Donovan in the chat. That's his real name. I already emailed him, put him in our winners book.
Well, excuse me, our audience on a first name basis.
Coming up next, we will be talking Michigan State. But first, we will be there soon with our friends over at the Folding Warehouse.
All right, guys, our friends at the Folding Warehouse in Hamtramck, home, of course, of the original football bowling pin game called Folding. Host your corporate party, team building event, or just come in with family and friends. There are 2 ways to play. Our $10 unlimited open play where you can stay the whole time. We're open throughout the entire day. Or, of course, a private lane reservation for $120, and you can host up to 10 people for 2 hours. They have over 100 beers, a $2 Mystic Bar machine, and multiple bars throughout the facility. Bring your food or have it delivered. Come and get your full on. Check it out at foldingwarehouse.com.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. One mortgage myth we hear all the time is having to choose between a 15 or a 30-year fixed term. At Hall Financial, we offer the modern mortgage to create a flexible term that fits your unique financial situation. Our team of mortgage experts are available 7 days a week to review your goals and customize a solution for you. Get started today with a free 5-minute mortgage review at 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Welcome back, everyone. You're tuned into the Morning Woodward Show right here on the Woodward Sports Network, featured on the Roar 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. As promised, we got to talk some Michigan State. They took on Maryland, beat the brakes off of them 40-21. Kenneth Walker with another Heisman-worthy game, leading the ground with 143 rushing yards, 2 scores, and 29 receiving yards. Adam, I know you're pumped on K9, so I want to start with you.
It's not even that. I think he's the clear Heisman. I've been saying it for 4 weeks now. He has multiple Heisman moments, and there's not a single collegiate athlete with one. Not Bryce Young, not Matt Corral, not even C.J. Stroud. Oh, he just had a 5-touchdown game. That's what we're going to base this on, against Purdue. Okay, that's fine. Kenneth Walker had a 5-touchdown game against Michigan.
Undefeated matchup.
When they were undefeated at home, and he carried the team. Big difference, guys. There's nobody, I believe, remotely close to Kenneth Walker. Give him the Heisman Award now. Just stop the debate. Stop the speculation. It's done. Kenneth Walker will be the 2022 Heisman Trophy winner. He will be. Come January, he will be announced, and it's just the facts, guys.
Yeah.
Better numbers than Derrick Henry and Mark Ingram up until this point during their Heisman years. And he has 2 marquee matchups coming up. Penn State and Ohio State. Which means this week against Ohio State, he goes for a $130, $140 with a touchdown or 2. That basically seals it for him. And if he does it again against Penn State, which I imagine he does, considering Hassan Haskins ran all over Penn State, this guy is the clear Heisman winner. I don't even know how you can justify anybody else in college football as a Heisman candidate outside of Kenneth Walker. But to go to the game, Peyton Thorne, my goodness, has he made me look good all year. I called it early when we had Justin Spiro on before the season started, talking about the quarterback situation. I sided very early on with Peyton Thorne. I think he has solid footwork. He's got the acumen of a quarterback. He thinks like one. Great pocket awareness, great situational awareness overall. And what has he delivered on all year for Michigan State? Deep throws down the field in clutch moments. He has been money all season. Good for Peyton Thorne. I'm happy for Michigan State. Hell of a year. 9-1 now.
Yeah, especially Peyton Thorne. You talk about his ability to make big plays. It's opened up this offense greatly. Even without Jalen Naylor, you've seen what they've been able to do. I mean, we know what Michigan State is. They're an offense that can generate big plays. I mean, they have the leading Heisman winner in Kenneth Walker. I think the only guy close second would be Matt Corral with a big win over Texas A&M, but that'd be it. I mean, Kenneth Walker is pretty much, if you look at statistically in just his Heisman moments, he's leading all competition in the Heisman race. But the secondary for Michigan State worries me. I mean, even Totola Tagovailoa giving up almost 400 yards passing through the air, 21 points. It's not good. And you don't have those marquee players like an Aiden Hutchinson. You have a lot of good players on defense, but it's hard when you don't have the pass rush to really generate constant pressure. It kind of, covers up the mistakes of your secondary. And you've seen what, Michigan, you say what you want about their secondary, their pass rush is so dominant that it actually benefits them. And to State's, credit, their offense has been saving them. And they had 40 Saturday. Obviously, Peyton Thorne, 4 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker had 2 of his own. It really goes without saying that this offense is going to be a problem for any team. I mean, Ohio State, they're going to have to compete, but defensively is kind of where I get worried with this team. I mean, even without Naylor, Jaden Reed stepped up, Trey Mosley stepped up. They have guys on offense. We know this, but it's can they hold their own defensively when it comes to C.J. Stroud? Can you get after C.J. Stroud, shut down Olave, guys like Olave, and I'm kind of blanking on the other receiver, Wilson, I believe it is, Garrett Wilson on the other side. So they got talented weapons, and you got to find a way to stop them. I think the only really player on the secondary that I'm a fan of, I've been watching a whole lot, Xavier Henderson. Obviously, Kimbrough made some plays early on in the season, had a pass deflection, but that safety, Xavier Henderson, is going to get drafted this year, definitely. One of my favorite players to watch. But defensively, I get worried about State. I mean, you can't really make an argument. I mean, they're going to struggle against Penn State. Michigan's defense, made some plays for them late in the game in the first quarter when Michigan was playing bad. Their defense kept them in it. I don't know if State can do that defensively. At least you've seen they go down. They can come back from leads. 30-14. State comes back against Michigan, but Ohio State's a different animal, and it's yet to be determined with that. But nonetheless, you look at State. 2 turnovers, I believe. They still were able to win the game. It's great. Mel Tucker's doing a fantastic job. Relentlessness is their motto, and they preach it. They're relentless. They never stop fighting. And obviously what do they got next week? Penn State, I believe. Adam, Michigan State next week.
Michigan State next week play Ohio State.
Ohio State next week.
Then they finish the season against Penn State at home.
So yeah, it's gonna be tough next week. I believe they're in Ohio as well. I think they lose to Ohio State. I did say both these teams would lose to Ohio State. I think Michigan has the best chance, though, nonetheless. But I think State, they got the job done. This is what they were supposed to do. Giving up 21 points still worries me, Adam. It does. If you look at, giving up 350 passing yards to anybody, let alone Tala Tagovailoa, it's going to be an issue. So, we'll see. It's going to be a good game this week, though, against Ohio State. We'll see, though.
Yeah, look, I'm really looking forward to it. Kennedy, I have to bring you into this conversation.
I know
Ohio State.
Oh, wait.
Yes, I know.
Fish, behave. Ohio State playing Michigan State this weekend at home.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Biggest matchup of the year so far, outside of the undefeated matchup between Michigan and Michigan State in the Big Ten. Expectations, 1, for how Ohio State will handle Kenneth Walker, but 2, as a neutral, because you are a Notre Dame and Ohio State girl.
Correct.
Are you backing me up when I say Kenneth Walker is the clear Heisman winner and there's nobody even in contention, not even Bryce Young?
Yeah, no, I agree with that completely. Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, fair enough.
K9 for Heisman. I'm here for it.
Thank you.
But Ohio State will win. Just saying.
I can't take you seriously.
They will. They'll beat Michigan State.
Yeah, no, I expect them. Well, we'll get that. We'll get to that later in the week.
They looked really good against Purdue, who...
No, to be fair to Ohio State, after the loss to Oregon, they've gotten better and better and better every single week. And CJ Stroud looks a lot more comfortable. And honestly, guys, there's not a team in the country with the wide receivers Ohio State has. Olave. I don't know how to say his name. Can you help me out? The dude with the multiple names in the end of his last name?
No.
I can't even say his name. You. Long story short, guys, against Purdue, they had 3 receivers within 100 yards and a touchdown. That is impressive.
It was a really good game.
Ohio State played a complete game. They look damn good. They're head and shoulders above everybody in the Big Ten.
Got the name, by the way.
Can you say it
I was
for
so
me?
Curious. Jackson Smith
Okay.
Najigba.
Yeah, I don't know how to say the last
name.
It's all right, guys. Just call him Jackson.
I probably should have practiced it before the show. But regardless, Ohio State are clearly the best team in the Big Ten.
Definitely.
It's not even close.
Well, and we'll get into it later, but that's why I'm so frustrated about I don't understand these rankings because Oregon's still ranked above them, but they
Michigan
look
State isn't ahead of
leaps
Michigan.
and bounds better than they did when they played Oregon.
Well, that's why it's so good to lose early on.
Yeah.
Right? But I'll be honest,
up.
Oregon, the only way they don't make it is if they lose one more game or if they slip up or they lose in the Pac-12 championship. That's it. Oregon will get in. Oklahoma eliminated. They're probably going to fall to 15 or 17 in the college football playoff rankings. And Lincoln Riley, excuse me, I'm going to go off topic for just 1 second. Lincoln Riley, what the hell are you doing? You bench Rattler for Caleb Williams. You start the freshman. You're only down a score. And then you bring in Spencer Rattler. And then you take him out again. I mean, I'm not one to criticize Lincoln Riley, considering I bet on Baylor to win the game, so I was kind of biased in that. But still, regardless.
It's like they still love him a little bit.
It's like, I liked what Stick said, especially when we're talking Notre Dame, Michigan, etc. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1 quarterback. I liked that he said that. I thought that was smart. I
think it's easy to say that. Look, you don't have to... The notion behind that is that if you play both quarterbacks...
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley committed to Caleb for weeks now. He never brought in Rattler. It wasn't up until the Baylor game where he actually brought in the guy. That's when you don't have a quarterback. Is when you're playing both, trying to figure out who's the better quarterback right now, who has the hot hand. That does not translate long term to football wins. I'm glad Oklahoma lost. I don't have to deal with them being undefeated and people crying on Twitter. They were a joke of a team. I'm hoping Notre Dame lose soon, and I'm hoping Cincinnati lose soon because, my goodness, I don't want to see them in the college football playoff unless Alabama loses to Georgia. If Alabama loses to Georgia, give me Cincinnati in the 3 or 4 spot. Give me Notre Dame potentially if Cincinnati
Go
loses.
Irish!
Fish, what are you doing here? This is a Michigan sports broadcast station.
And?
We're not supporting Notre Dame here.
Okay.
Don't say go Irish at all.
I love that Fish backs me.
I can't help you there.
Thank
Go
you, buddy.
Irish and OH?
I-O. There we
There you go.
Fair enough.
Fish
But
knows what's
Fish,
good.
you know what, Fish?
He knows what's
Speaking
good
of
for
Fish,
him.
I want to ask Fish.
Yes,
this.
sir.
Fish, you know how adamant I am about Kenneth Walker for the Heisman. I think it's been done for weeks now, especially after the 5-touchdown performance against Michigan. Fish.
Yes, sir.
Is there anybody in the country you think is deserving of the Heisman more so than Kenneth Walker is? Yes, no, maybe?
Not that I've seen, no. He's going to win it.
He's going to win it?
He should. I mean,
you.
knowing college football, they might find a way to give it to someone else, but he should win it.
Fish, are you and Adam agreeing right now?
Yeah.
Is this like, am I witnessing this?
Yeah, we agree.
All right, good.
But
I mean, we all
won't.
agree. I mean, Kenneth Walker is the Heisman.
OHIO. There you go.
Yeah. Well, you can't add that at the end, Fish. I mean, you just ruined it. You just took all credibility away from you.
Fish, I'm going to kill you one of these days in the most loving way, but I will. So now that they have me on tape recorded that I threatened you, if something happens to Fish, I will likely be the prime suspect. Enough.
I will testify.
Anyways, we got to go to break, Kennedy. When we get back, lots
Around
of football to talk around the NFL. Lots of upsets over the weekend.
We got a draw, Adam. We got 1 point.
Fish, it's not soccer. Tying doesn't get you a point in the NFL, buddy.
I love Fish.
Get us out of here, Kennedy.
All right, yep. When we come back, we're going around the NFL. But first, Jeff, your hair looks beautiful. Where do you get it done?
Well, Lady Jane's, listen, a lot of you guys, I could tell, need a haircut. Can't see you, but I can feel you. And take your butt over to Lady Jane's because they're open 7 days a week, 10 to 8. You can walk in any time because you sit down in one of these chairs, watch television, you watch your favorite sports teams, and you leave before you know it, you're handsome and clean. So take your butt down to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in any time of the week because it is wicked awesome.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Welcome back, everyone. As promised, we will be going around the NFL, getting you caught up on all the other games from yesterday. I want to start with the Browns and the Pats, a blowout game. I was a little surprised. Pats beat the Browns 45-7. Dear Lord. Jeff, your thoughts on this game?
Well, the Browns, they got the brakes beat off them. It's not the first time. You look at this Patriots defense. They've slaughtered teams just defensively. And then offensively, Mac Jones looked great. I mean, 3 touchdowns. He only had 4 incompletions. 4. I mean, say what you want. I mean, this is what I want to get to, actually. I mean, this is his wide receiver core. Can I read it off for you? Kendrick Bourne, which you could argue is the best. I mean, he's better than any Lions wide receiver by a margin. But T.J. Hawkinson's better than Hunter Henry. Brandon Bolden, who is a running back, was one of their wide receivers. Jacoby Myers, who's a former quarterback, is their second wide receiver. They put up 45 points. So credit to the Patriots. I mean, they put in work in the run game, through the air. I mean, Mac Jones looked damn near perfect. They even had to put in Brian Hoyer. He came in through a touchdown. It was touchdown. They were handing out touchdowns like it was candy on Halloween. It was bad.
If Jamar Chase slows down, Mac Jones will win Rookie of the Year. But I talked with Stick about this on Friday. We previewed the game. He sided with the Browns. I sided with the Patriots. For this exact reason. Coaching.
Yeah.
Coaching. The same reason I took the Browns last week over the Bengals is the same reason I took the Patriots over the Browns this week. Give me the coaching matchup. I love the matchup of Belichick and McDaniels versus Kevin Stefanski. 2-1. Give me it all day. And even without Damian Harris, the New England Patriots stuck to their game plan and absolutely dominated the Cleveland Browns. And the Cleveland Browns going into the game had the 3rd-ranked rush defense, and they had no answer. No answer, and here you are as a Browns fan. You're 5-5, and you're looking at Baker Mayfield like, what do you do for me? Oh, when we're winning, you look good. But when we lose, you can't keep us in the football game.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of quarterback is that?
Baker sucks.
I know. I know he sucks.
Case Keenum, though.
Case
love
Keenum
him.
looks good. I would start Case Keenum for the rest of the year.
No, me too.
And I think Baker's injured as well.
I would not re-sign Baker Mayfield.
Nope.
And be very careful, Cleveland, what you ask for. I understand you've gone a long time without having a franchise quarterback. And I understand you've started over 20 quarterbacks in the last, 10 years?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know that's very difficult to swallow. But I would take Case Keenum for the rest of the year, re-sign him for next year, and draft a quarterback this year. Desmond Ridder, Kenny Pickett, even Carson Strong. Take a flyer. You're going to have a late first-round pick. Go for it. Go for it. You have a damn good team. There's no need to wait. Go get a quarterback. Baker is not it. You messed up on that pick. You did. That's just the truth. Move on.
Mm-hmm.
Move on from the Baker pick. He is not a franchise quarterback.
Keep Baker commercials, though. I like them.
No more Baker commercials. None of that garbage.
The Tebow commercial that Nissan is doing is so good.
Why is Tim Tebow alive?
That's because he's the
this guy on
Heisman
TV?
Trophy winner.
Why?
It's so good.
It's not good.
It's so funny. I love Tebow.
I hate your taste. I really do.
Anyway, I want to move on to the Seahawks and the Packers. They shut them out 17-0. Your thoughts on that game? I know you're always talking about.
Matt LaFleur is an average coach. Aaron Rodgers is clearly carrying him, and this is just an Aaron Rodgers-led team. This coach has nothing to do with what are they now? 13-3 NFC Championship appearance year 1, 13-3 NFC Championship appearance year 2, 8-2 top of the NFC 10 weeks in. Wow, what a surprise! What a surprise! Who would have thought? This guy can't coach. Clearly, I'm gonna keep listening to the public when they tell me that Matt LaFleur clearly can't coach, right? And I'm wrong. Okay, that's a damn good coach. Matt LaFleur's doing a hell of a job. Hell of a game plan. Packers defense has turned it around all year. It's been a key fundamental part of this team's success. You've seen even when on a down night, Aaron Rodgers still making those throws to Davante Adams. Those little I don't even know how to describe them. They're like a quick play, a fake play action, get it out of your hand real quick on a slant route to Davante Adams. I love that play. A.J. Dillon emerging as the clear feature back with Aaron Jones' potential. I believe it's an MCL sprain, so he'll likely miss 3-4 weeks, just like Alvin Kamara will. Packers are looking good. They're not slowing down. Defense is legit. Back-to-back weeks, they shut down the Kansas City Chiefs.
Without Jair Alexander, their best corner.
Who just put up a 40-burger on Sunday night, and they just shut out the Seahawks. Yes, Russell Wilson's first game back, but still.
Yeah.
To shut them out, hold them to under 200 yards of offense? Impressive. So happy for the Packers. Good for them.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, say what you want. It was a scrappy game last night. Snowy game. A.J. Dillon made plays, and he'll be back, of course, the next couple of weeks. But, it was more so Russell Wilson. He's coming back with that finger injury. He just didn't look right. Offensive line couldn't protect for him. And I think that says a lot about this Packers defense. They're a serious defense. No Jair Alexander, by far one of the best corners in the NFL. They don't have him, and they're still shutting out teams. It's impressive. The signings they were able to make just through the season. They signed Whitney Marcellus from the Houston Texans. They picked up, then they cut him, Jalen Smith. They've been active in free agency. Devondre Campbell. They've been signing a lot of guys, and they're all in. And obviously, Scantling's back. Valdez Scantling. It was his first game back. Caught a 41-yard reception. This team is built for success. They're going to go far. And Odell, Robert Woods tore his ACL, and he's going to have success with the Rams, but I would have loved to see him on the Packers because offensively, they got a juggernaut, and they're going to miss Aaron Jones over the next couple of weeks. But I
don't think so. I think Dillon's going to step right in and carry the ball 20 times, catch 3-4 passes a game. He's going to be a top 5 fantasy back easily. And if you have him on your bench, congratulations. You're going to look good the next few weeks. And we'll see if Aaron Jones even comes back. Do they shut him down till playoff time? Who knows? If it's just a sprain, you can recover in 3 to 4 weeks with proper rehab. But if it's more than that, and there is maybe a larger tear than expected, you have to wait for MRI tests, then you got to make the decision, do we shut him down? And I think the Packers will be just fine without Aaron Jones, if I'm honest. Top defense in the league. Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, Davante Adams, Randall Cobb. I like this football team. I really do.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I don't know. The run game, the jury's out. I think A.J. Dillon's a great back, but 3 yards a carry. I mean, it was snowing out, but at the same time, we'll see. I mean, they're gonna face more competition, of course, and Aaron Jones on the receiving side of things brings a lot to the table. But so does A.J. Dillon. To your credit, he had 2 receptions for 62 yards. So the Packers are going to be fine. I mean, they're the best team by far in their division, and they're beating teams, especially good teams. Seattle Seahawks is a great team. Even if Russell Wilson's his first game back, it was an impressive win for the Packers, definitely.
Agreed. All right, the next game I want to get into, Eagles-Broncos. Eagles take the dub. Darius Slay gets another touchdown.
I called this game.
Love him the most.
I called this game on Friday. It was one of my locks. Philadelphia to upset Denver on the road, and damn did they. The defense looks good in Philly. Sirianni, as weird and quirky as he sounds on mic, doing a decent job. Getting a lot out of Jalen Hurts. Devontae Smith, baller of a game. He showed out. First touchdown, I believe, since week 1 for Devontae Smith. So a coming out party finally due for him. But my goodness, the defense is legit. Darius Slay having a hell of a season. Got to give Kennedy credit on that one. But yeah, it was a good game. Good game to watch.
I can't believe we're best friends. Isn't that so crazy?
I'm really proud of you. I'm glad you've reached this status with Darius Slay. I'm really happy for you.
Replies to my Instagram story once. I'm like, yeah, we're best friends.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Regardless, it was a good game. Denver is what they are. I think they're going to probably bottom out at 7 wins at the most. They'll win another 2, and I think they lose the rest for the season. I love Javonte Williams. I think they got to move off of Melvin Gordon. Javonte Williams, clearly a damn good running back. A damn good one. And you got to figure out the quarterback situation. Teddy Bridgewater, not the guy. Drew Lock, not the guy. Denver's going for a quarterback this year because I think they have a decent enough roster to probably contend for a wild card spot next year. I really do. I like the O-line. It needs a little bit of help. That pass rush needs some help now that Von Miller's gone. Secondary, love it. Wide receiving core, dynamic. Running backs, dynamic. Tight end, dynamic. They got a good team.
I still think that they missed big on Mac Jones. I don't know. I get the Surtain pick to a certain extent, but Surtain yesterday, I mean, he got exposed just yesterday. But let's just look at corners. I mean, the Denver Broncos, we can acknowledge they have a suitable, a serviceable team. And the minute they didn't take Mac Jones, Justin Fields, they passed on all the quarterbacks this year, and now they're going to take one this year. I mean, late in the draft, to be a Broncos fan and to miss on those 2 guys, it's probably upsetting to a lot of those guys.
I think Mac Jones walks into Denver and is a disaster. How about that?
So you think it says more about McDaniels?
Absolutely. Josh McDaniels is the or one of the best coordinators in the NFL right now. And he's been. This is a proven guy. He did it last year with Cam Newton. Cam Newton ran for 10 touchdowns last year. People forget. He didn't throw the ball that great. But still, you got something out of him. This is what I mean about coaching, guys.
No, it's important.
You got to be able to get the most you can out of what you have. And if you're telling me all I can get out of Jared Goff is 1 touchdown in 6-7 games, look, as bad as he is, you can't tell me that's all on Jared Goff. I need better coaching. I need better schematics. I need to deceive the defense more. Give me something. And if Jared Goff literally can't throw, which he's shown he can't, well then, okay, you accept it, but give him a chance. I need to see something. McDaniels gets me something. Aaron Glenn is losing his job for a reason. Next game, Kennedy.
Next game, the closest one we've hit on thus far. The Vikings taking on the Chargers. Poor Hollywood Herb took, 27.
Told you guys the Vikings were going to be a 9-10 win football team, and they're looking like it. They can run the ball, timely turnovers on defense. They have a decent pass rush. Secondary pretty solid. This is one of those teams that can go as far as their quarterback takes them. And if Kirk Cousins can play like he did yesterday, you're looking good. Minimal mistakes. Didn't overshoot any of his receivers. Made some big plays with Thielen and Jefferson throughout the game. Dalvin Cook healthy. This is a 9-win team. And in an NFC conference where, let's be honest, it's a top-heavy conference. All the division leaders are amazing. And it's open field for the wild card spots. After that, Carolina's in the 7th spot right now. Minnesota, I believe, is in 6th or 5th. This is a very open field right now in the NFC. Even the 49ers sitting at, 3-5? Even if they lose tonight to the Rams, they still have an opportunity to get in with 8-9 wins. That's just the NFC, how it works. The teams that are leading the divisions in the NFC are just damn good. Cardinals, Packers. Unbelievable. I love it. Saints looked good last night, even though they lost. It's not last night, excuse me, yesterday afternoon against the Titans, 23-21. But Kennedy moving on next game.
That's what I was going to talk about. I love the Titans, so I was glad they won. But like you said, they just squeaked by. Do you want to move on? You don't have anything else to say about the Titans-Saints game?
No, it was one of those ugly games.
All right.
It matched, I believe it was a push at 44 over under. It got right at the number. It was I don't want to say a boring game, but it was just one of those gritty games.
Yeah.
The Saints made a lot of plays, but the Titans just made that many more. And that's what decided the game. Both teams were down with injuries. Their feature backs out, limited at throwing the ball down the field, but they still managed to do so. It was an ugly game, but Tennessee, let's give them credit. Probably one of the best teams in the AFC right now.
The next game I want to get into was closer than I expected. The Colts and the Jags. Colts won 23-17. I don't think the Jags are that bad. Thoughts?
The Jags have been competing in pretty much every game they've been in so far this season. I mean, if you just look at, they obviously beat the Bills last week. They kind of carried the momentum over to this week. And then Trevor Lawrence just limiting his turnovers, I mean, significantly helps his team. I mean, he was 16 for 35 in terms of his completions and attempts. He wasn't great, but at the same time, didn't turn the ball over. So you give your team a chance to win. And the Colts, if you look at Carson Wentz, didn't have to do a whole lot. Jonathan Taylor ran them essentially to victory with the help of Michael Pittman and other guys. But yeah, the Jags, I mean, they're 2-7, but they're a competitive 2-7.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like ever since Urban Meyer got in trouble for what he was doing at the club, they've been way better.
No
I don't know
kidding.
if it's like rallied this team or whatnot, but they've actually been playing better football. And just in terms of defensively, offensively, I know they have a defense, but offensively they've looked better. So got to give the Jags credit, Adam.
All right. The last game I want to get into, the Bucs losing to the Washington football team 29-19. Your thoughts on the game?
It's a weird game.
Weird.
Washington's defense has lived up to nothing what you expected preseason. If you would have told me they would rank near bottom of the league in every category, I would laugh at you. And here they are. Chase Young, probably torn ACL, I believe. So he's done for the year. That is really unfortunate. But Taylor Heineke, he loves to play against Tampa Bay. Should have saw it coming. Played them very close last year in the wild card round, and they get kind of their revenge game and beat them this year.
Mm-hmm.
Washington looks pretty good coming off a bye. They had 2 weeks to prep for this game. I'm not going to read too much into it, but it is 2 straight losses for Tampa Bay. Can New Orleans catch them? We'll have to wait and see. Still one more big game left in the year between the two. But Tampa Bay, I'm not going to worry about. Defending Super Bowl champs, they got Tom Brady. They'll figure it out. They'll probably win 12 games.
Yeah.
Not really worried. They'll probably go 6-2, 5-3 down the stretch. Not worried at all.
Yeah, not worried about the Buccaneers as a team. I mean, maybe it hurts Tom Brady's MVP case, but at the same time, him throwing 2 interceptions, I mean, that's a rarity in a game, of course. But you know what else is not a rarity? It's Taylor Heineke going off against the Buccaneers because he played them in the playoffs close. He plays them always close. And if you have 6 incompletions, he was 26 for 32. He played spectacular, made some plays with his legs. So, I mean, give Taylor Heineke credit. I mean, they lost Chase Young yesterday, and they still went out and competed and won the ball game. So, credit to the Washington football team. Now they got Carolina next week with Cam Newton returning to face his former coach. So, can't wait for that matchup.
All right, you guys. Coming up next, we will be reacting to the AP Top 25. Listen, to get through this Lions game, I was in my cups a little bit. And you know who I was in my cups with? Our friends at Gypsy Vodka. Adam, could you tell everyone about them?
Everybody, Gypsy Vodka, let's be honest. This is probably one of the better tasting vodkas I've tried in a while. Again, guys, you drink, you have your shot. I like it straight. I don't mix it with cranberry. I'm just a straight vodka guy. And we all know what that feeling is like after you take down the shot. Burning alcohol sensation. Gypsy Vodka, not even close. Very smooth, goes down easy. I don't feel awful after. I love it. Gypsy Vodka is gluten-free and corn distilled 6 times using artisan spring water. Support our local brothers from here in Michigan, Adam and Mike, local Michigan State graduates. Try a bottle today. Ask for it by the name of Gypsy. And as always, please drink responsibly.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. With mortgage interest rates unbelievably low, the stakes to find your new home have never been higher. And that's why Hall Financial's exclusive realtor network allows us to connect you with a top-rated realtor in your area. making sure you take on the housing market and win. Hall Financial has earned over 4,000 five-star reviews because of our technology and our commitment to closing your loan fast. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Alrighty, you guys, getting into the AP Top 25 poll and our expectations for the college football playoffs. Right now, Georgia still sitting at number 1, Alabama at 2, Cincy at number 3, those dang Bearcats. Oregon still at 4. Ohio State is still following. Then number 6, Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, finally where they should be getting this dang respect. Michigan State at number 7, above Michigan at 8, where they should be. Oklahoma State at 9, Ole Miss at 10. Thoughts, boys?
I don't get.
I like where Ole Miss is.
Well, we talk about inconsistency though. Like, so State's above Michigan now.
Yes.
Well, this is the AP poll. It's not the college football rankings, right? So the
Correct.
college football playoff rankings, I believe, come out tonight.
Tomorrow night.
And the coaches poll.
Okay, cool.
The coaches poll has them flip-flop. Still Michigan above State.
I'm not going to look anymore into the coaches poll. I could care less.
Okay.
Looking at the AP poll just in a vacuum, how Notre Dame leapfrogged in 1 week.
I don't know.
Let's go.
Michigan
because they had a great game.
And Michigan.
They have the same
They
record.
had a great game this weekend. You cannot take that away from them. I was pumped.
They have a 9-1 record. And
Look, guys, I'm tired of the narrative every year. This is my biggest problem. Is you want me to take your team seriously, but your team plays nobody throughout the whole year, right? I'm supposed to give the benefit of the doubt to Cincinnati and Notre Dame, but I have to hold Michigan State accountable for their schedule, and they're going to lose a game in the next 2 weeks against Penn State or Ohio State. I'm going to say that's a bad loss to lose to Ohio State. Oh, but that means they're going to fall back and Notre Dame leapfrogs them. Why? Because they beat Navy and Virginia? And now they're playing Stanford? No, seriously. When does strength of schedule actually matter? When does actually being in a conference that's actually difficult? When does that matter? Oh, Cincinnati, Adam, they're going to the Big 12. Oklahoma and Texas are leaving the Big 12. What do you want?
How else are they supposed to be? They're only
How
lost.
else?
They're
Schedule some goddamn football teams.
Their
Schedule
only
one.
loss
It should be mandatory. You schedule an
It's
SEC
to the
team.
number 3 team.
The number 3 team in the AP poll. I don't care about
And
Notre Dame.
they
Well, it's bad enough that Notre Dame right now
beat
is being
Purdue.
overrated because of their good loss to an overrated Cincinnati team. Cincinnati have gone into the fourth quarter in one-possession games against their last 3 opponents. I'm so tired of Cincinnati. And even if they go to the college football playoff, which they likely will if Georgia beats Bama, but if Bama beats Georgia, well, then 2 SEC teams are getting in. And if Oregon wins out, I got to put the Pac-12 one-loss team in. And if Ohio State wins out or Michigan wins out, then I'm getting a Big Ten team in. So Cincinnati's going to get the cold shoulder. That's the reality. So what do you guys want me to say about Cincinnati and Notre Dame? I think they're overrated. Texas Christian can't have a more difficult strength of schedule than Cincinnati, the number 3 team ranked in the country. Guys, we see this every year. Notre Dame, they win 10 games. They get their ass kicked. Oh, well, Cincinnati last year, they played a close game against Georgia. A meaningless bowl game for an SEC team, let's be honest, that sent half their team to the league. Wow. That game was the Super Bowl for Cincinnati. It was just a bowl game for Georgia. And look at Georgia now, on trail to probably go to a college football playoff and likely make an appearance in the, what do they call it, the Fiesta Bowl, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, or the Orange Bowl, whatever it is. I don't know how you guys want me to take Cincinnati and Notre Dame seriously. I don't. Give me a reason why, Kennedy, I should take Notre Dame and Cincinnati so seriously when they have played potatoes all year.
Potatoes.
Tell me, seriously. Give me one reason. Give me the quality of win that Notre Dame has. What, Purdue? Okay, I'll give them that. That's a good win. Purdue's a good football team.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin? Okay, I can make that argument. Good win. But Cincinnati have only beaten Notre Dame, and they've beaten nobody else. I'm supposed to take them seriously? They're the number 3 team in the country? I could make more of an argument, even though I think Notre Dame is overrated. I could make more of an argument for Notre Dame over an undefeated Cincinnati. What am I supposed to do here? Somebody, please.
Yeah.
Am I missing something with this football team? I'm not. I don't know what else to say to you, Jeff.
No, I mean, I don't know what to say to you in response to that. I mean, it's 100%. I mean, the Cincinnati thing, yes, they're undefeated. You have a somewhat of a case, but difficulty of schedule is important. I mean, and apparently the AP doesn't value that because, I mean, the fact that you have Notre Dame over Oklahoma State, Michigan, and Michigan State when, TCU has a tougher schedule, it's a tough argument. They deserve to be in the top 10, but, I mean, 6 is just ridiculous. It's overrated.
Look. You determine. Look, guys. I'm not going to give you let's say I'm a committee member. I, going into the year, am not going to use last year at all to judge the current football teams. I am going to judge you based on your schedule, your play on the field. And what have we always talked about with teams that have a lower strength of schedule? You need style points. Where's Cincinnati's style points?
They're sneaking with one possession games.
And they will likely stay at 5, even though. If the committee would just be honest with themselves, I would love nothing more than tomorrow night for the college football committee to do a very important thing. Georgia at 1, Bama at 2, Ohio State at 3, Oregon at 4. Number 5, Michigan State. Number 6, Michigan. Number 7, Cincinnati. Number 8, Notre Dame. Number 9, Ole Miss. That's what I want to see on Tuesday night. Now, Adam, why do you have Michigan State? Although I think Michigan is a more complete team, I'll agree with the committee. If you're going to use head-to-head between Oregon and Ohio State, then you need to put Michigan State. But if you're going to have Oregon at number 4, then you got to put Michigan at number 5. That's my opinion. And I think Cincinnati's got to drop to 7, and I think Notre Dame can climb up to 8. That's it. I'm not having an argument that if Cincinnati win out, they deserve to go in. I don't think so. I really don't. And given how the Big Ten is going to shape up, if Ohio State wins out, Cincinnati has a chance. But if Michigan wins out, and Penn State or Ohio State beat Michigan State, then Michigan's getting in. But that also leaves a spot. You have to see how Georgia and Bama do. If Georgia beats Bama, Bama's done. So then my top 4 is looking like a Big Ten team, an SEC team, and likely Oregon, which means I have Cincinnati, Notre Dame, and I don't know, let me say, maybe Ole Miss that can sneak in. That's what it's looking like given that scenario. But given the Ohio State scenario, I'm left with, and let's say Georgia loses to Alabama. Well, then you have Bama, Georgia, and Ohio State. Book it in your college football playoff. Well, who's getting the 4th spot? A Pac-12 champion, one-loss team in Oregon? Or are you going to give it to Cincinnati? Or are you going to give it to Notre Dame? Or are you going to give it to, let's say, a 2-loss Michigan team or a 2-loss Michigan State team? I doubt it, but I'm just saying. That's the conversation. Yeah. And if you're the committee, I do not want to see Cincinnati ranked at 5 on Tuesday night. And if they do, it really disappoint me. I don't know how anybody here can make an argument for them. I don't
know how anybody in general. I mean, I could see the first 7 games of the season. You're 7-0. You've beaten, I guess, who's in front of you. But now you're 10-0. You're top 3 in the AP poll. Like, you're not qualified. Yeah, you haven't had a loss, and that's big. But you could argue the teams that do have one loss face tougher opponents, look better than you, and that's just the facts. So the only reason why they're in this and relevant is the 0 losses and the big win over Notre Dame. Congratulations.
I'll answer the questions in the chat. Adam, what about Oklahoma State? Oklahoma State are nice. I like them. I don't think they're a top 4 team in the country. And that's how I feel about a lot of the teams outside of the top 4. Even in the top 4, I don't think Oregon's the 4th best team or the 3rd best team in the country. I don't. It's just one of those years. But Oklahoma State lost to Iowa State. And if they go on, they run the table, and they win the Big 12, I got to consider them. I have to. But right now, I don't have to consider them. And I take Ole Miss over them in the rankings, to be honest. I would.
Regardless of 2 losses they have.
So that's where I'm at this morning. Cincinnati barely beat Navy. That's Kennedy talking. Oklahoma State, I agree. It's a hard pass. Wisconsin looked damn good. And they're going to be a problem if they get to the Big Ten title game. They just are. They're going to be a damn problem. Wisconsin are trending in the right direction at the right time. They're peaking. They're likely going to make an appearance. Iowa, does Iowa get in? I don't think so. Who knows? But all I know is that whoever gets out of the Big Ten East is likely winning that ball game. Ohio State, Michigan doesn't matter. I think all those teams will win that game. But if they don't, well, then that opens the floodgates for everybody. Because Wisconsin or Purdue aren't getting in with 3 losses, even if they're the Big Ten champ. And if that's the case, Well, then Cincinnati and Notre Dame probably get in if they win out. It's just a whole cluster, you know what.
Yeah.
But I don't like it at all. I don't like it. I think we're overvaluing Cincinnati and Notre Dame right now. But what can I do? The committee doesn't listen to me, unfortunately.
They do not. All right, we have to hit the break. Up next, we'll talk some Pistons and Monday Night Football. We got a good game coming our way tonight, so we will see you after the break.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Morning Woodward Show. All right, I want to get into some Pistons/Cade Cunningham talk. Pistons had a great win over the weekend. Jeff, fill me in on it.
Well, over the weekend, obviously, faced the Raptors. Friday they faced the Cavaliers. They lost. It was an ugly loss. So we'll stick with Saturday and the weekend. And Cade Cunningham down the stretch. I mean, Adam alluded to it earlier. He was talking about just his mentality. And you saw for the majority of that Raptors game, Cade was settling. I mean, he was 1 for 7 from 3, 1 for 7 in his field goals. He was only taking 3-pointers. And late in the game, he changed his entire approach and started attacking the basket. And that really changed the big part of this game. I mean, the fourth quarter, the Pistons went for 34 points. And that was a majority of it was because of Cade Cunningham. I mean, he scored, I believe it was like 5 or 6 down the stretch, made some big shots. Killian Hayes, I got to praise him. This guy, almost a triple-double, 13, 10, and 7. He looked great shooting the three ball from downtown. I mean, he just looks like he's getting better every game. So it's good for that. One thing I do is Saddiq Bey. And we've talked about his shot and his struggles so far in the season. Looked good. I mean, he was 3 for 7 from 3. That's the guy we know Saddiq to be. I mean, he could spot up, shoot 3-pointers. I think it's just his confidence, or maybe it's a mechanical issue. Whatever the case may be, so far this season, he struggled. And, you can kind of take, a couple good things from this thing. I want to talk about the elephant in the room and Hamidou Diallo and just the situation that occurred Saturday when Coach Casey wanted him to check in to the game and he refused because it must be frustrations because we're not using him or whatever the case may be. But that's a player that's probably going to get traded. He's not available to get traded now, but he hasn't been getting any playing time in these games. And I'd rather get
Corey Joseph is getting a ton of playing time, which makes no sense to me.
So the fact that Diallo is not getting any play time and you have Joseph and Frank Jackson, who's they look horrible and they're playing, it tells you something. It tells you something how the relationship with Diallo is, and that's going to be interesting. I mean, the Pistons are in on Marvin Bagley, so we'll see how that turns out. But over the weekend, Dwayne Casey always finds a way to beat the Raptors. I mean, we know this, and they win against the Raptors on the road. So it was an impressive win, no doubt.
I'll take it. Yeah, look, Cade Cunningham, I think, is developing into that guy. You got to bring up Saban Lee, send down Corey Joseph, and if you can't get Diallo minutes, you got to probably trade him by January? He'll be eligible February.
It's going to be a couple months. So.
There you go. There's that. I think it's like a 90-day period. So whenever that ends up. But Kennedy, we got to talk.
Monday Night Football.
Of course.
I'm very excited. Rams taking on the Niners. OBJ will be in action for the first time with the Rams with Robert Woods out, which I think is super shady. I'm not saying he did anything, but he was upset with the lack of targets he was getting in Cleveland, and then suddenly we have, an ACL tear? I just think it's a little sus. But he's said to be doing some punt returning here and there, too, so that's interesting. But, boys, your thoughts on OBJ on tonight's Monday Night Football action?
Just where we've gone from OBJ, think about that for a second. Like, number one wide receiver, one of the best wide receivers in the league, and now he's returning punts and signing minimum contracts with incentives. And that's just kind of how the league works. 1 minute, you're the best player in the league or at your position, and the next couple of years, you're signing minimum contracts, returning punts for the LA Rams. So you know what? It's a great opportunity for him. Robert Woods goes down. Odell Beckham, he has an opportunity to be utilized right away. They're going to use him in so much. I mean, Sean McVay, I can't not wait to see how they use him tonight. I do need Kittle, though, to get me at least 8 points tonight, and I win my fantasy matchup against my good friend. So you know what? Praying for Kittle to go off. But I think the Rams,
all you care about?
No, yeah, you know
I
what?
need Stafford to not go off so I can beat Jeff in fantasy
At the end of the day,
tonight.
Adam, I was looking at that match. Fish, you're going to win this week, right? Have you been checking fantasy? First, Justin, you and Justin? I think you're going to win this week.
No,
and I face you.
We're going to end up losing to the commissioner, Alex
Not
Mayer.
Mayer.
Okay, Alex Mayer. Okay, you know what?
Losing to Mayer.
But regardless, the Rams tonight. Is it in LA or is it out in San Francisco?
It's in San Francisco.
Yeah, it's in San
It's
Francisco.
going to be tough. I think it's going to be a gritty game. I mean, Stafford's coming off basically 2 pick sixes. Jimmy G's coming off, a decent performance. They're on like a 2-3 loss streak, so they're going to be looking to bounce back. It's going to be a great Monday night game. I think this is probably one of the greatest ones so far. Monday night's been kind of disappointing over the last couple of weeks, but I'm excited for tonight. It's going to be great. Kyle Shanahan versus Sean McVay. You can't ask for anything better.
Yeah, no, it's a great Monday night matchup. So excited for it. Look, OBJ, I love the comment in the chat. He pulled a Tanya Harding on Robert Woods.
That's what I'm saying.
I love that.
swear. I think something. I don't know. It's shady. It's
Regardless
shady.
of how sketchy or fishy it may look, this team, I want to see how they function given a short turnaround time for OBJ without Robert Woods. Robert Woods is a key component of that offense. As important as Cooper Kupp is, Robert Woods has the same, if not, I could argue the same value, minimum. So how Stafford handles today, against the defense, let's be honest, it's not what the defense of old, maybe a few years ago with Robert Saleh, but still, I think the Niners really need to take advantage.
Mm-hmm.
It's a short week of practice for this team in regards of practicing with OBJ. So they're not going to gel. They're going to rely heavily on the run game. And even if Cooper Kupp goes off for, let's say, 12 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown, that's acceptable. What you can accept is multiple touchdowns out of Cooper Kupp, 150, 170 yards. Don't let him gash you.
Right.
Let him catch the underneath 6, 7, 8-yard catches and just call it a day. And try to limit the Rams to 21, 24 points. If you can do that, I think the Niners are in a good spot today to win. But, Jeff, give me your prediction for the game.
I think the Rams get it done. It's going to be close, though. Closer than a lot of people think. I'll say 27-17. That's my prediction.
Okay, well, I think the line is, 6.5?
Yep, so they cover.
For the Rams, so you take the Rams to cover. I'm going to take the Niners to cover. I'm going to go final score, 28-27. The Rams win, pull it off late.
Okay.
I think a missed extra point probably costs one of these teams later on. Or field goals aside, I'm going to take the Rams. I think Stafford has a day. I'll give him 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions for 270 yards. That's going to be my prediction. Kennedy?
I don't really have a prediction for tonight's game, but
give me one, damn it.
It's just okay, fine. It's hard because I don't want Stafford to perform so I can beat Jeff in fantasy, but I want him to perform because I want him to win the MVP. So I'm a little.
MVP race is wide open. Lamar lost. Brady lost. Herbert lost. Kyler Murray's been out now for a second straight week. He's done. It is wide freaking open.
It's crazy.
If Stafford has a 3-touchdown game tonight, plays
right
flawless,
back in
and wins on the road in San Francisco, he becomes the front runner, whether you like him or not. That's the reality. That's a narrative game. Division game on the road, just like Seattle. After he pulled it off in Seattle, conversation started to pick up. He does it in San Francisco, conversation starts to get some more legs to it. I like Stafford tonight. If he has a 3-touchdown game, 250, 270 plus, that's the MVP front runner going into Week 11.
Can we get an Odell Beckham Jr. prediction?
Stat line? Yeah.
Let's,
4 catches, 55 yards, and a touchdown.
I like that.
Honestly, they are going to
that.
force him the ball. I think he gets 7-8 targets. He gets about a 50% catch rate because it just,
right.
He's probably still new to the offense, learning the language. But I think come red zone time, they're going to make it a habit to get in OBJ's hands. Why? They want to keep him happy. You don't want him going the game with 5-6 targets only, 30-40 yards on the air. It's not going to look good. Get the guy involved early. I think that's what they do, and the Niners will have to adjust. And if they want to double Cooper Kupp all game, then Odell Beckham's probably having a big night then.
I like that.
Prediction.
You know what? I like that. I almost want to. I'm like trying to make it different because it sounded too good.
No,
like,
I'm telling you, 4.
I'll say 4 for 65. I'll give him a little more, 4 for 70, and a touchdown. I like the touchdown because you're making a great point. Like they got to keep him happy.
Even if he gets 5-6 catches, I'm still taking him under 70 yards. Like,
yeah,
I think they're going to be a lot of underneath routes, get him involved, make him feel happy. They're going to run the ball, and Cooper Kupp is going to be the guy that takes the top off the team. I think
he'll probably have 150.
Watch out for Van Jefferson though.
Oh,
Van
he needs
Jefferson.
to pop off. I'm glad.
Do you have him playing today?
Yeah.
Well, for Kennedy's sake, but Van Jefferson, book it now. I think he catches 2 passes over 30 yards this game.
I think he doesn't get a catch. That's my prediction.
What?
I'm joking.
Get out of here. He's become one of Matthew Stafford's favorite targets.
I need him not to get
We
a
got to
catch.
go. Get this crap out of here.
All right. I guess if I had to, my final score prediction would be 24-20. I think they keep it close, but I think the Rams will take the dub. All right, you guys, we got to get out of here. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on the Woodward Sports Network.